All right, welcome on in to another Last American Pubcast. This is episode 10. We appreciate you being here. This is Tom from America Floats. I'll let everybody else be introduced. This is Frank from Let's Be Frank,
Hey,
Abby
guys.
Libby from Conspiracy Pilled, PJ from Wartime Propaganda, and you know him from his many panel appearances, as well as his videos that expose the mainstream media's biased agenda. This is Ryan from Drone Tech, the Drone Tech channel. So thank you all for being here, and for all of you at home watching and liking, subscribing, and following, commenting along. Everybody say hello.
Hey.
Yo, yo, yo.
Konnichiwa.
Hey. It's great to see everybody. Hola.
Okay, now I'm just going to say this right now. I can't hear you, so I'm going to jump and try to figure that out, and I'll be right back.
Bye, Tom.
Bye, Tom. Yeah. There we go. All right,
well, that was a fun show. Good night, everybody.
All right. I actually also have to jump really quick, and I'll be right back. It's the worst time for something to happen. But
good night, everybody.
Somebody came down to me and was like, "Hey, we need you real quick." So,
all right, we're losing everybody here tonight.
I don't know what's going on.
Bye, PJ.
All right, well, let's get going tonight without some of our hosts that had to bail on us out of all of a sudden. Talking about what's currently going on, we've had a lot of issues. Hey, Tom, you back? Can you hear us? Tom?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm good.
Okay.
I don't know what was going on there. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see everybody. Great to see you. Great to have Ryan here tonight with us, joining us to talk about things that are currently going on. And it just seems like it continues to get worse from week to week with this current regime and the way they've been going after their political opponents. And of course, it's always different when they do it. Right, Ryan?
Yeah, always. Of course. I mean, what do you think? Like all the propaganda that we hear from a day-to-day basis, all of it is just meant for that. It's just meant to so when people come back at them, like, oh, you're doing things that you said that were a danger to democracy. Oh, no. It's because it's different.
Yeah, there's been a lot of stuff. We had the Biden's speech from hell the other night where he was actually broadcasting from hell and giving his speech to basically. It was a single for all of his supporters, and of course, it was a prelude to what we've been seeing with the raid of Bannon, who they decided to go ahead and perp walk for aesthetic effect because that's what they want. This is a trial run, a dry run, if you will, for their attempt to arrest Trump before the midterms. I'm still going to stand by that. That is something I've been saying now for quite some time. I think you and I, Ryan, were on a panel together where we kind of discussed this about a year ago, that this is where we were kind of headed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's been, I mean, really, you could see this coming for the last 20 years, probably. I mean, during the Bush years, anytime there'd be a government shutdown or something like that, they'd always blame the Republicans, always accuse them of being like suicide bombers and terrorists. And then, their opposition to Obamacare, they said, Republicans want you to die. And, they've been kind of leading up to this point for a while. It's been pretty clear to see that, especially with the media being dominated clearly by Democrats, it's been clear that they eventually want to criminalize. I know that sounds crazy, but they want to criminalize the Republican Party. And I've talked about it before that, the Republicans are always accused of being authoritarians or Trump. The thing is, and I'm not an expert on this, but if you look at people who are, they'll tell you that an authoritarian needs a support base, an institutional support base in order to, help them be authoritarians. And Republicans and Trump don't have that. Biden, Democrats do. And that should, I think, scare people, especially since we're so used to them accusing us of what they're engaged in. And so if they're accusing us of being authoritarians, then, it's probably because that's what they're doing.
According to the most recent comments on our She-Hulk video, though, there is no such thing as left-wing media. So,
yeah.
Exist.
Because it's not straight up communist like Stalinist propaganda. I mean, it's close, but
well, according to who's it, Ibrahim Kendi, in his book, if you want to fight today's racism, you're going to have to project your racism into the future. If you want to fix last year's racism, you got to be racist today. So if they're going to tell you right now you're a racist, therefore they can be racist against you, to you. The next step is they call you an authoritarian. Now they get to be an authoritarian to stop you.
Exactly.
The rule is it doesn't exist, and it's good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the pattern, right? It starts out, oh, no. There's this loud, they get really outraged. This isn't happening. They're lying. It's all propaganda, especially with like Chris Rufo. You saw that. Oh, look at this quote. He said that he's making it up. But then, pretty quickly it's, but we need this. And then you have like Malcolm Nance and Ben Shapiro arguing over it. And you get these people who have no idea what CRT, they accuse us of that, but they don't really know what it is, and they think it's history. It's teaching history and all this kind of thing. So,
yeah, we had this moment where they tried to define what the evil MAGA Republican is. It's anybody that denies election results, anybody who riots or attacks police. But these are all of the same things that Democrats have done for decades and up to recently, this last decade. And then, of course, we had a 2020 Summer of Love. You had Peter Ducey during the press conference with Kareem diversity hire Jean Pierre the other day, where he actually called her out on one of her tweets denying the election results of President Donald Trump, basically calling him illegitimate. So wouldn't that make her a threat to democracy?
Yeah. I don't know if you guys want me to go. I definitely will, though, because for me, this was a big one. I had been wondering, like, why is nobody asking her about this? It's an obvious question because it's out there. It's public. I thought everybody knew about it. And I had actually tweeted, like, maybe 3 or 4 days before Ducey asked, and asking, like, why is nobody asking this question? And what, besides the fact that she, went into it's a different when we do it kind of a thing, what's really telling is how nobody else in the media has asked that or did like any kind of like real follow-up or anything on that. Like if these people if it was a Republican up there, man, they would all be standing up and shouting and acting like they were activists, protesters like they did all through the Trump years. But there's none of that because they're not interested in pointing out that because they're just themselves. They're so invested in this narrative. They can't do it.
Yeah, and we forget that it's not even just Trump. Like they were insisting that Bush stole 2000, and then I need a beard. They were insisting that Bush stole 2000, and then 2004.
Sorry. Yeah, wasn't that Biden's recent tweet? You can't love this country and also claim that we have unfair elections. Except in 2000, 2004, and 2016, and Georgia in 2018. Outside of that, though, you just really can't question.
Yeah, even questioning the methods of vote counting, right? You can't question the Dominion voting machines. You can't question smart tech or anything like that, unless you're the Democrats who questioned about them in previous elections, saying that they could be issues in elections and that would cause them to be stolen.
If the Republicans win as much as they should in 2022, then voter fraud will be the new black in 2023. It'll be all the rage again.
Oh yeah, exactly. And we see this pattern over and over. It's got like I hate to say gaslighting because it's like overused now at this point, but it has like a gaslighting effect. You know what I mean? Like when you have like the Bush years, they treat it one way, and then you get Obama, and it's like, oh, okay. Now overnight they've changed how they report on everything. Then you get to Trump, and it's the same thing over and over. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that's on purpose? Do you think they are trying to kind of poke us with that sort of thing?
I don't know. Maybe they're just so disconnected from reality themselves. They just say whatever they want to say in the moment that's convenient.
I feel like that's the question. It's like, do they know that they're lying? Do they know, like...
Who is this?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I feel like somebody's about to steal my bike, though.
I feel so uncomfortable right now.
It's just a do-rag. Sorry.
Yeah, I just... like
very distracting.
Like, to me, it drives me crazy that, like, we have to listen to them talk about how violent... First of all, when Karen Jean-Pierre gets up there and she's like, how clear that they're being about everything. We're being clear. Biden's been clear when nothing about it is clear. It's all these kind of vague generalities that they're making with no examples to back up anything they're saying. And they keep accusing us of taking away rights, even though Republicans aren't the ones in power. Democrats have been in charge of the country for 2 years. But then they accuse, and Republicans are all about violence. Like all the biggest political violence that we've seen over the last 7 years clearly has been from the left. I mean, even before the 2016 election, you had like mobs of people beating up Trump supporters, like in San Jose. And then you had like the Democrat who attacked the GOP baseball game while screaming, "This is for healthcare." That the FBI tried to claim that was suicide by cop. Like, that's weird, right? Like, why was that not dug into more? Like, eventually Ray admits, yes, it's domestic terrorism. But why did they not say that for so long? obviously because the media would have to ask, oh, who radicalized this guy? Oh, it was us. That's not going to happen.
Well, it's like a dampening effect. Hello, PJ. I swear you're being robbed in the moment. We see Tim Pool get swatted. We have people being robbed.
I'm literally being robbed.
Are you in California right now?
I'm not saying any.
Are you in a Chappelle sketch right now that we should be aware of?
Yeah. So, the left, the only way that the left's narrative works though is based on this victim mentality. So you're talking about, as Drone Tech said, they have to claim that they don't have institutional power while they run all the institutions. That's the. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh and make a salient point. It's just not working. Somebody else just take it. My mic's going to cut out at some point again anyway.
I'm pulling in these non-super chat beers because I just want to drink.
Abby, when the super chats start coming in, you're going to be wasted by the end of the show tonight.
Yeah,
I'm always wasted by the end of the show. What are you talking about?
Oh, God. I made sure that I started drinking right before I came on here because normally I'd have like maybe 2 before I get on. It's like, you're slurring your speech by like the second hour, it's probably not a good idea.
We're like the founding fathers. Everything's in cursive, including our speech. So, yeah,
just
super
like the
based.
founding
It's super
fathers.
based. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that I noticed over on your Twitter when you tweet out, Ryan, is that you make it very clear about when there is something going on within a Democrat regime. Currently, what we have here with Biden with the inflation and the food shortages, energy shortages, and anything else that's negative, it gets covered, but the Democrats are never attached to that coverage.
Exactly. Yeah, and you saw that big time during the Obama years. That was a big thing. I always, when I talk about this, I use this example, but I went back and I looked during the whole kids in cages thing when that was going on. I'm like, I seem to recall that there was some, similar thing going on during the Obama years. He built these places, and I started looking into it, and I found I zeroed in on some NPR articles where they talked about the overcrowding, but I noticed nowhere in these articles did they ever mention Obama. It was always kind of vaguely government, government this. And I actually reached out to one of the writers on Twitter, and she actually responded back. And her response I thought was so ridiculous. And I don't have it anymore because it was on a long banned account now. But she basically said something to the effect of the lawsuit that we were talking about did not mention Obama. And I'm like, but he's the president. It's his centers. Like, and that's what we have to deal with. And then at the end of the Obama years, they say, oh, was scandal-free president. Oh, well, because you didn't report any of the scandals. Like, oh, he's scandal-free. And that's another like just messed up thing is that they create this like alternate reality bubble, where these things don't happen. And then they spend so much time calling us conspiracy theorists and demonizing us so that if anybody within their bubble does happen to see any of this information, they're just instantly going to discount it.
They're still tweeting out the meme of Obama in a tan suit saying this was the worst scandal of the Obama presidency. And it's like, I don't know how intellectually dishonest you could be, but that pretty much goes right up to the line.
Yeah, I mean, look how they freaked out about Bannon ignoring congressional subpoenas and anybody else who did. And it's like, but Democrats set that precedent. Like Eric Holder had a congressional subpoena. He ignored it. And the double nice. He ignored that congressional subpoena. And was he held accountable? No. When they tried to hold him accountable, Democrats got up from the vote and walked out. And Obama and all these people were saying, oh, this is all political. It's just political witch hunt. And the media applauded, oh, great job. This is great. This is American. And then so they set that precedent, and then it continues happening. Oh, now it's a problem. Now we want to change the rules back. Now the standards have to change because it was different when we did it.
I want to say something about this comment right here because she's right. Doublethink is really powerful. And I think one of the reasons why is that it's difficult. And when you're in the process of trying to doublethink, you feel really smart. It's taken hold at college campuses where kids get really high on the intelligence they feel from thinking 2 things at once. And people are mistaking it for intelligence.
That is a good point, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that is. That's interesting.
Let me ask the panel, because we've talked about this now for the last 3 weeks, and talking about the prospects of the Biden regime arresting Trump. Does it happen? Do you guys think this happens? Are we witnessing the changing landscape and political warfare
in a
real
chess
time.
in a chess
Yeah.
match. Do you take out all the pawns and rooks and knights and then not go for the throat? You know, do you not take out the queen? I know it's a bad
Mhm.
example, king, queen, but you get my point. Like
Mhm.
all these arrests, all the people they're going after, they're building up the case to take out Trump, and for them to stop short just doesn't seem that seems like a stupid strategy. It doesn't seem like the way they're going.
I think they're just
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
scare him off. I don't think they're going to actually arrest Trump unless they have to, and I don't think they want to have to. I think they might, but if I had to guess, I think they just want to scare him away from announcing a run. They want to ransack his kid's room, ransack his wife's closet, like make his family members afraid so that he might feel like, okay, this is not worth that. And I think that's
Right.
really their last move beyond trying
And-
to.
How dare you,
I-
PJ?
I made the queen jokes like 5 minutes later. Okay, so nothing's
Everyone-
too soon for me.
Everyone knows you have to take out the queen before you can get to the king.
Yeah, well, without now, see.
But here's where I disagree with you, Tom. I mean, I always disagree with Tom, but especially right now, is that I lost my train of thought because I was being to talk.
Well, I can say something about it. I agree with Tom. It's hard to say which way it's going to go there, but I do agree with Tom in that a lot of this, even if they don't actually arrest him, is meant to scare away anybody who might think about working with Trump or, saying the same things that Trump says. It's all meant to be like a threat. Like, if you do this, we're coming after you.
But you guys are assuming that you're dealing with adults, and I assume that
We're
we're
not.
dealing with angry, petulant toddlers.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I think they're projecting and mirroring what they're afraid he would do. So like I think they're going to go as far as they would want him to go against them. They're going to set a precedent that says we raided, we investigated, we looked, we had a commission, we dragged this out through 2024. But when Trump becomes president, inevitably in their mind, right? They're planning this out. They'll be able to say, we didn't have X, Y, and Z. We never arrested. We never had a perp walk. We never did these things because that's kind of the deal they want to be cutting with the public view. If Trump takes over in 24 and then he does all those things that they walk up to the line on but don't actually commit to, then he is the tyrant that they said he was, and that he is just going after harder his political opponents. They can go up to the line of punching him just like your kid brother or your sister would go, I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. And they'll do that with the arrest. They'll probe, they'll prod, they'll make him really uncomfortable, but they won't actually go that far, I don't think. And I hope they don't prove me wrong.
When have they not gone over the line or gone too far in one direction, though?
Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. The Republicans are always the ones that are like, well, we don't want to do anything as bad as the Democrats do. And the Democrats continue to push further and further and further. And then the Republicans come in and they're like, oh, we're more civil. Isn't it great that Hillary Clinton broke the law and we didn't arrest her? Or look, we're the good guys. We're wonderful. We're great because we don't prosecute our enemies when they break the law. So they know that's how we play the games. And I've just never seen any evidence of the Democrats going, well, that's a little too far. We want to push them, but we don't want to cross the line. I mean, we're literally talking about a party that is mainstream wanting to mutilate children and tell you that it's good and make you say it's good, or you can be kicked off of social media. I think people like that have there's no line for them that they won't cross.
Yeah, I think arresting Trump has been their wet dream since the very, very beginning.
Right.
It's how a lot of congressional members ran back in 2018 was, we're going to impeach that MFer. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Did it twice?
the impeachment stuff started like after he was elected, before he actually took office, before the inauguration, there was already articles and stuff about impeaching him. So, yeah.
Yeah. They've been wanting this for a really long time. And I think that they're so lost in their own desires, their own narrative. They're so self-indulgent. I don't think that they're thinking things through to conclusions.
Well, they had
believe
years-
their own lies. That's
They had years worth of the walls are closing in, bombshell, and all that. Like, they need satisfaction.
Now, with that, say, for example, let's just go down this rabbit hole a little further, if we would. They arrest him. Are they looking for that violent reaction so they can shut down the midterm elections? I've been adamant about
For sure.
that is the plan. And I'm not a genius. I'm not anybody that's that can predict this, but it just feels like it's moving in that direction. As Drone Tech said, labeling anybody that's basically a Republican a domestic terrorist.
Right. Like when Biden gets out there and he says that like half the country are the domestic terrorists, and he actually at one of his speeches maybe a week ago or so ago, he said, oh, we got to save the planet. So not only are you saving the country from a domestic terrorist, far right, white supremacist threat, but you're also saving the earth. And it's like, what can you justify doing to stop this horrible, inhuman threat from destroying democracy and the earth? And that's what should scare people, I think, because I think there's no limit to what they can justify doing. I think they could go the full way.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to say, again, like if they can call you a racist, they can be racist against you. And if they can call you an authoritarian, or like Trump, they can call him a tyrant. Now they can be authoritarian tyrants in having to deal with you or his supporters. And in the future, when they say, oh, there's an evil group and they are going to destroy the planet, so we have to get rid of them, they will be justified, they think, in their genocide. So I guess justifiable genocide will be a term of the future for the left.
Oh, yeah, totally. And you know what? I noticed it right after the election that the media channels and print started already kind of making excuses for why, oh, you're probably not going to see as many like fact checks of Biden. It's just because he tells the truth. It's like, Biden's a prolific liar. What are you talking about? And that kind of evolved over the couple of years now, where now they're saying, oh, well, we can't be objective. We couldn't possibly do that because the threat is just so persistent and existential that we can't be objective. It's so funny. It's just like the Obama years all over again, but now they're like putting out, everybody knows that they're full of shit and they're they're basically just an extension of the Democrat Party. So they got to put out this sort of rationalization for it, you know. I would assume only hardcore Democrats believe.
Biden's such a liar that his own White House has to fact check him on whether he has cancer or not, and the media waits to do so until the White House tells him it's okay. Like that's how fact checking works into this presidency.
Yep. There's no running list of all of his lies, even though they're constant.
Right.
You know.
Brian Stelter would be having a heyday if he was counting all the lies that Biden was doing.
You know what's messed up about that? Not to get on a Brian Stelter thing, but if you guys remember, and I'm sure you saw this when Brian Stelter was first let go, there was like, and I don't know why I was getting all these tweets, but I'm seeing all these different tweets from different people in the media, like, oh, we're losing a great hero in the media and all this sort of thing. Every time I saw one of those, I would ask them, and some of these people, you know, they work for the Washington Post, NBC, different networks. They weren't getting like a lot of response, so I know they saw my response, but I would ask, you know, show me a single example of Brian Stelter holding Democrat Party power to account. You never get a response ever.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, he doesn't have to do that. They don't ever step out of line. And that's why he called his show Reliable Sources, because he always proposed the reliable source. I'm wondering where we're going to get our reliable sources now that he's been fired.
It's hilarious seeing the meltdown on Twitter of people thinking, everybody calling CNN now a far right network, and they're saying it's Fox Light and stuff like that. Like, really? Like,
especially after Trump had put out on Truth Social, he might need to start backing CNN if Fox continues down the path of never Trumpers and rhinos.
Well, I hope he's saying that tongue in cheek, because I don't want anyone to think for even a second that CNN might have a change of heart, might turn around and say, oh, you know, on second thought, we're with you guys, because unless there's some kind of, you know, stroke of miracle of genius of whatever that the new CEO has, the new owner has, my suspicion is they want to become like a Newsmax. Like, hey, we'll act like we're on your side. We'll even, you know, cross the line that Fox won't cross sometimes. But at the end of the day, there's still going to be controlled opposition. They'll act as the punching bag when they need to. They'll act as the scarecrow when they need to. And
it's right, Katie Zed.
It is Katie Zed.
What's up, Katie? Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hey,
I just want to say hi.
Did you want to sit down with me for a minute? Okay. Well, hey.
Katie.
Yeah, sorry. I'm reporting here live from BasedCon, so for people confused about what's going on.
Yeah, you should tell us about that. How's it been?
I will. I want to make one point about what you're just saying. Do you think it's a form of gaslighting, though, this idea that CNN is moving further right, and like CNN and Fox News are coming into this new center where they're like this mainstream, like not nonpartisan media, but what's really happening is CNN went crazy far left, Fox News went far left, and now they can meet in the middle, and they can be, look, this is the middle of the country, but the middle of the country would be far left of 10 years ago. It seems like a form of gaslighting to lie to everyone and be like, look, the media's fine now. We went crazy. We went to the opposite sides for a little while, but now we're back in this very neutral center area, except, you know, it just happens to be communist, essentially. Like,
yeah, that's a much better way of explaining it than I did.
It's the Ingsoc party. It's like what they're making.
Right.
And-
Yeah,
and
exactly.
If you see 1984 with the two hands like merging and it's inside, that's like what's
Yeah.
happening. I've noticed, and that's so like cliche too. But man, there are so many similarities to that book and like
Right.
things that are happening now.
Hey,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Hey, do you guys remember that journalist that was murdered over in Turkey? You know, Khashoggi and all the mainstream media press were outraged that Trump enabled this murdering of this righteous journalist who was holding power to account. Over
Yeah,
in
Donald
Saudi
Jr.
Arabia.
himself. Donald Jr. himself went to Saudi Arabia with the prince and hacked up Jamal Khashoggi.
That's right.
That's what I heard.
That's
I
right.
want to ask about this.
It was right after their Triceratops hunting tour.
Is it fair to say that Fox is far? I don't watch Fox, but I got the feeling that they were
I'm not saying they're
pretty
far.
center.
Well,
But my point is, if they're considered the right, the extreme bounds of the right, and CNN is, and they're going to both come in and be like, okay, we're not going to be so right. We're going to be try to be centrist, and they're going to be try to be centrist.
Mhm.
Fox News is not right wing. They're just not. Like they're at best centrist with a George Soros
Yeah.
backing and a lot
Right.
of leftist like rhino bullshit.
I would
So
put them
the
in the center.
idea that these are the bounds, these are the goalposts, right? Fox News is on the right, CNN's on the left. It just happens that the entire they went like this, and then they all went like this,
Right.
and that's supposed to be center now. That's
Yeah,
the
I see what you're
gaslighting.
saying. Yeah.
yeah, what do they call that? The Overton window. Is
Right.
that
The
what
Overton
it's
Overton
called?
window,
window has
yeah.
shifted.
And
This-
so
I-
that. Go ahead, Abby.
I was thinking about this the other day. People like to say, "Oh, they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're saying the quiet part out loud. At least they're saying the quiet part out loud." No, they're not. The Overton window just shifted. There's still a quiet part. It's just way worse than the thing they're saying out loud.
It's just Maoist now instead of
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you have Fox News featuring the tranny from California. What's her name? His name? Olympic
Caitlyn
champion.
Jenner?
Jazz.
Bruce
Yes.
Bruce Jenner.
Yes.
Oh, Bruce Jenner.
As a paid consultant or a paid person that comes on to give their.
But they're not
Pundit.
left wing, guys. They're not
Yeah.
left wing.
Well,
and then they
did you guys see?
Then they featured a glowing review about a kid transitioning as well. I believe that they had
Yeah.
that on one of their
Oh, yeah.
online articles.
That was weird.
That was really
Yeah, that
bad.
was really weird
If
too.
that's right
'cause-
wing now, then yeah, I'm sorry, you're just wrong.
Yeah.
It's not
That's-
right
You know,
wing.
something about that, Frank, that you were talking about that Fox News did. Something I found very strange about that, and I don't know if you guys saw. You probably did on Twitter the picture of the girl that got her. It was like a 13-year-old girl who got
Yeah,
the I
awful.
forget what do you
Double
call that?
mastectomy.
Yeah, and they're standing in front of a little poster that says like
Yeet the teats.
no, it was like be the real you or something like that, or
Yeah.
be yourself. And it's
Be-
like you're not being yourself. And then the interview that you're talking about on Fox News, the mother who was like this Christian, she's like, "Oh, she's being the way that God made her." And it's like, but that's not the way that God. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about?
I've said
That's
this so many times. Yeah, I was
like, this
born
is
this way.
Orwellian, man. Jesus,
I was born this way. That's why I need surgery to be this way. That doesn't make any
Right.
sense. Yeah.
I need to stop my normal biological processes and mutilate my body to become who I'm really supposed to be. Right.
Yeah. Then we had that one segment. Oh, we have a.
Woohoo!
Thank you, Awful Salt.
Thank you.
You know what? Maybe a better visual image of this is a slinky. You know, like Fox News stays where it's at, and the slinky gets pulled this way, and then you let go, and it looks like it came back to the center. It just happens to be over here because of which side you let go of. You know,
Right.
like the
Well,
whole thing shifted.
Can I
That's
ask you guys
political
something?
relativism.
Yes,
And that's why I'm going to say this
right.
right now, just as I'm going to lay it out and then I'll shut up. If you're in the middle knowingly, then you don't have my respect. Like you can't be in the middle and say, well, I can see why they say this. And so I can go either way. Like if you know the evil that is represented and it is right now on the left, it could be on the right in the future. Who knows? But right now that evil that's trying to corrupt the world is coming from the left. And if you are knowingly a bridge to it by just being the happy middle and you know what's over there and you're allowing these people over here to get that, then you know that's what I have a problem with Fox for.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to see and I would ask you Major Garrett, you guys know who he is? A former Fox guy?
Yeah.
He's
I
on
do.
CNN I think now. So he was a guy who his whole persona is that he's a centrist. And yet he tweeted out the other day he's got this new book coming out called The Big Truth, which is Orwellian when you hear the rest of it. But he put out this tweet saying that the 2020 election was the best election in American history, or the most democratic election in American history. That's what he said. And the book is called The Big Truth. And I made the point
Democratic,
that we
all right.
know for a fact now that the FBI, if just this one fact, the FBI, they helped suppress news that was bad for Biden. We know now for a fact that they did that to help Biden's chances. And we know for a fact now that they were ordering their agents not to investigate Biden for that reason. And we know, Zuckerberg said that, yeah, the FBI came to him. So they definitely, without a doubt, influenced the election. So how can you possibly call that? And he's supposed to be the centrist guy. So
I will say
that's the new center.
just on Fox's behalf that for a long time, media tried to be unbiased and really valued, like deeply valued the idea of being unbiased. And I think that Fox is still not, because they're not actively refusing to hire liberal people the way that the other places are, you're getting people who are putting forward these stories like the transition story and putting forward awful stories because they're not doing what CNN's doing, which is really, really awful. And I understand why that's difficult to respect. And I also still kind of respect it. Like they're still trying to hold on to this old ideal where they're not discriminating.
I disagree. I don't think that there is I don't think that the idea of unbiased news has ever been true. And
No,
I've actually been putting a show together with this premise, just going back to Benjamin Franklin talking about this problem of fake news back in 1860 or in 1765. Like, sorry, I said 18. Oh, that's okay.
Oh no!
Yeah, I told you I was getting robbed. It's just so hard to do this show.
Don't eat his street food.
What was my point? Yeah, good point. You know what? Somebody asked for Tim Pool earlier, and I got a Tim Pool as a gift. So there's
I
Pool's on
was
the show.
wondering
Now.
what that was about.
Yeah.
I thought it was just cold in the basement.
This is almost as bad as my poster falling on me that one time. So you guys get to see my hat here. It's all good.
Do you know who? Do you know what Red Letter Media is?
Sorry, no, I lost my point. Well,
Red
Dude,
Letter
you're like
Media, who's
you
that?
look like Jay, man. I keep thinking I'm like on a stream with Jay from Red Letter Media.
okay. I'll have to
She'll look
into
him
who
up
that
later.
is. Okay.
I want to be clear. I'm not trying to defend Fox. I
Oh.
think that they've done awful things.
I remember.
Abby
But
loves
I can-
Fox. Everybody, Abby loves Fox.
I
Fox
can
lover.
understand why them and a lot of the old guard Republican
got
people are still
one.
trying so hard to hold on to these old ideas and ideals that they were comfortable with and not seeing the need to shift.
I remember my point now. So the point I was going to make is that I don't respect Fox or CNN for the same reason, because CNN pretends to be the trusted, reliable source, and they hide their bias even though it's plain to see. They hide it in plain
Right.
sight. MSNBC I have a less of a problem with because you know they're left-wing bias, so you know what you're getting into. CNN lies about it, and then all of the NPCs go, look, CNN, they claim that they're a reliable central source, right? And the problem with Fox News is that they claim to be, or not claim, I mean, they do. They lean into the right-wing bias thing, but
Yeah.
they're not. So I would rather have news media that actually just tells you, look, this is the story. I'm going to try to get it right, but I'm also explaining this is where my biases come from.
Well, it's an infiltration move,
That's-
right? Like if I want
what
to
it is.
be on the right and tell the right what to think, then I'm going to feign being on the right, and I'll say I'm conservative. I agree with you on the first three things you say, but then when I interject in the conversation, I'm going to say something that you'll feel like you have to agree with too, and you won't. And it's like what you look at Fox. They say here we have a border crisis. It's terrible. We have this other tax issue, and it's the inflation is terrible. Hey, look at this trans kid. And so they can subvert your culture that way. And, Drone Tech made a point of, they're mentioning, hey, we're on the left. If this is the middle now, how can this be? No, they're going to bastardize the language itself. If they're going to call this the most democratic, that you said 2020, they said was the most democratic election.
Said the most democratic election or the most democratic election in American history.
Then that's them bastardizing the word democracy as they continue to do our democracy is just their communism. And eventually, if you want to tear it down, you're going to have to be the guy who's saying democracy is bad as they have defined it. And you don't want to be the guy on paper saying democracy is bad to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I think they
democracy's bad.
actually believe, at least some of them, that democracy means Democrats in power. And
Yeah.
as stupid as that is, I think that's where they're at.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
Their shifting of language is their biggest weapon. So you're right on that.
They're very,
Yeah.
very good at it because the right falls in line with their language changes.
Because we're just like
Instead of
regular, normal
challenging-
people.
Yeah.
Sorry, Frank was going to say something. I'll
So
hold my
true.
point. Sorry, Frank.
No, go finish your point, PJ.
I was just going to say, this goes back to what we were talking about last week with the NPCs. The problem is that you have the NPCs on the left and they get all their talking points from CNN, who's on point with the leftist talking points. And when you have the NPCs on the right getting their talking points from Fox News, who's becoming more and more and more left, that's why we lose. Because our low information NPCs, which we have, let's not lie about it, they are feeding into, oh, well, I'm just a what would you call it? Like, I'm a liberal, but I'm not going to call it. Like, I'm like a soft leftist, but that makes me right wing now. And that's what the NPCs on the right believe. They hate the left, so they go to the right, and their talking points from Fox News are just leftist talking points. That's why I
think there are a lot of really, really good people on the right. I went to a deeply conservative college, and a lot of people there have not kept up with the world. I think things are changing so fast, and it's so scary that there's a lot of really good people who are very, like, their spirit is conservative. Their spirit is wanting to preserve the way that things are, and things have progressed into this awful place so quickly, and they haven't just caught up with it in their minds. They haven't accepted where we are, because the only way we can't fix this with a conservative spirit at this point. We have to have a more of a revolutionary spirit. And I think that there's a lot of really good, really old-fashioned Republican conservative people who are just not there yet.
Right.
They're not bad people.
And that's a trap. I mean, like I was talking about earlier about Biden, casting us in the most horrifying light. If we go out and protest, then. And I've always said, another one of the things I always say is that the only one of their rules is that the only legitimate protest is one that is advancing their agenda, So if we go out and protest, it's obviously going to be demonized. They're obviously going to crack down on us. It's just going to lead to them further. Like, we're in this weird, like, Chinese trap or something that no matter what we do, it's the wrong move almost.
We just got a new super chat IRL for the first time in the history of the Last American Podcast. $5 super chat.
Yes.
IRL.
That's amazing.
It's going into the cup. There's a drink for Mr. Zed. Thank you.
I think they call that a virtual super chat.
Yeah. where I and
actual reality.
Actual reality is weird. So, go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
And speaking of the media and talking about, the outrage of journalism when a journalist is murdered and they can blame it on Trump. Well, we just recently should be one of the biggest news stories out there, but it isn't because it impacts their benefactors, right? A Democrat in Las Vegas stabbed to death a investigative journalist in that city. He went to his house and lured him around the house and stabbed him to death and left him there to die in the middle of the yard, and left the scene of the crime.
Turns out what happens in Vegas does not always stay in Vegas.
Right.
And then they tried to turn it as they were questioning the sheriff about it. Are you going to condemn Trump for this?
Yeah. Here's the reporter. I just linked it in private chat. But she came on. Her name is Dana Resnick Gentry. She tweeted out, Metro Sheriff talks about slaying of the person, says murder of a journalist especially troubling, but declines to denounce former President Trump's normalization of violence against reporters. Like, what? Like, that's insane, first of all, but like, how did he normalize violence against reporters? That's ridiculous.
Well, because she's referring to when Trump would call them the enemy of the people.
Right, but Brian Stelter did that to Fox News like every night. Like, that's another, they always use as a shield. It's okay when they do it. Well, they always use as a shield that, like, there's threats. Like, you saw with the Children's Hospital thing. Oh, they're getting threats now. It's probably lies.
The FBI became victims.
Right. Right. Oh, now they're making them endangered.
Right.
Did he take the super chat?
Yeah, we just lost our first IRL super chat.
No.
Show's going off the rails. I apologize.
Sorry, where were we?
Hey, Obama. Do you guys remember Obama targeted journalists?
He did.
I was gonna say that. Yeah,
Michael Hastings. Go ask him.
Anita Dunn, his communications director, actually literally declared war on Fox News. Like, she said that we're declaring war on Fox News. Was that not normalizing, like, inciting violence against Fox? Of course it was.
Also jailed more journalists.
This is the situation we're in.
Or like Jim Acosta being as smug as he is. That's normalization.
Oh, yeah.
What would be violence against a journalist.
Remember when Jim Acosta was accosted by the White House aide when she tried to take the microphone away back from him, and how they tried to play that up and him being the victim of all of that?
Yeah, he hit a girl's arm. He karate chopped
Andy
her.
No, that's a great example. Yeah, he actually got attacked, and yet he's still like, it's not like the media was like, oh, Andy No was attacked by Antifa. That never happened.
Yeah,
There
are
was
they just
never
an
any,
idea
like-
though? I thought that's how they are. They're not real.
Well,
Right.
talking
They're
about
not real, but they're good actually.
Right, they're not real, but they're just anti-fascist.
right, yeah.
That's what they always say. But Antifa, it stands for anti-fascist. You know, I always tell people it's like Antifa, at least the Antifa in what we see in America here, it's like if the Nazis were to get together and start a group called the Good Guys. And then you're like, but the Nazis are acting like they're going out and doing the mobs and beating people and burning stuff and making people put up the fist. Oh, no. They're the good guys.
Yeah,
could
what do you
pass-
stand against the good guys? The good guys are out every night.
Right.
We love them.
Wait a minute. You're saying you got a problem with the good guys?
Or like the Proud Boys. What are you, not
Whoa.
proud to be a boy?
Whoa.
Sounds silly.
Right.
Well,
That's
here's
exactly what it
that.
is.
is.
What's up?
Says off. I will read this one because it's such a big super chat right now. It says off subject, but to our brave armed forces, 9/11, Eve, I thank you for all of your guys' services.
Yeah, this one's
Amen.
for all the people we lost on 9/11.
Absolutely. Which apparently no generate I don't know which generation. They don't know anything about it. I just saw
Generation Z.
Yeah, generation. They don't know anything about 9/11. They can't even tell time. So I don't know what's wrong with these people.
Well, if you ask Omar, some people just did something. That's all.
Some people
Right,
did
right.
something 21 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Waffle Salter. We will address that at the end for the last call as well. Again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and that does remind me. We got about 15 minutes left before Drone Tech gets out of here for the evening for joining us tonight at the bar, at the pub. Is that we are on the anniversary of 9/11. I didn't really kind of wrestle with that until just now when I saw that super chat come up. I knew tomorrow was 9/11. You know, remember last year at this time, the whole reason Biden wanted to quickly exit Afghanistan so he could sit there and take credit for ending the war in Afghanistan on the anniversary of 9/11.
Yeah.
It's really, really disgusting. I work with combat veterans. I work for a nonprofit that helps combat veterans, and it seems like every year it gets harder where these guys are looking back on everything that happened and kind of the results of it and how meaningless it was in the end, and just really, really struggling. So keep them in your prayers, especially on 9/11.
I would
Yeah,
also
you have like that, and you have everything else going on in the military where you know they're focused on white rage and pronouns and things like that, and you're finding that nobody's joining. They're having a real problem with retention. And then you have Joe Biden leaving people behind, and apparently nobody really cares because it's a Democrat.
Yeah, my daughter just got a text message from a Army recruiter today, and she responded back, when you guys decide to go ahead and stop prioritizing trans agendas, maybe I will consider joining the military. But until then, no, thank you.
Yeah.
So I would say there's another group that I feel like we should also try to remember on 9/11. But at this point, what difference does it make? No, you know what I'm talking about. In Libya, we lost those people because of Hillary Clinton.
Benghazi.
And, Benghazi. Thank you. I was struggling with the name. But so that's another one. That one happened on 9/11. I think some people forget that. So
It
Wow.
did. That's
Did it?
right.
them as well. Yeah.
I did forget that.
Yeah, remember it happened right
It was
after
because
that
it was
debate.
9/11. Because it was.
Yeah,
the
they said it was
anniversary.
in response to a video, and they originally said it was
Yeah.
protests because of 9/11.
They
but then they took
arrested
that back.
that guy. They arrested the
They
guy.
arrested
they
him
claimed-
for
Yes.
making the video.
Yes, they did arrest him.
Has anybody ever
These
heard
people
of that
are
guy
such
again?
authoritarians.
More journalists
So
arrested
crazy.
under Obama.
That dude.
Remember
made
they
it-
tried to arrest people for memes? Like they were sending police after people for memes?
Yeah.
Oh, this one's important. Let's do this one.
Okay.
As an immigrant from Moldova, I appreciate the freedom that this country offers me, and I will fight to keep it this way. God bless you all. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And another one, same. Oh, wait. Nope. I was wrong. I got confused.
Well, now somebody's got to
I-
buy a super chat to make Abby not a liar.
That
You know, I
won't
have
fix it.
my old boss. He actually grew up in the Soviet Union. Then they moved over here sometime in the 80s, and they actually when they came here they were Democrats. And he was telling me how over the years that they lived here, that changed because he said they more and more were like, this is what we fled from.
Yeah, you hear that in South Florida as well with the Cubans that are over here that escaped Castro. They continue to. I had this gentleman I worked with in when I was in grocery retail. He worked for Frito-Lay. He would come in. His name was Willie. He was a Cuban who fled from Castro. He's an older guy. He's just a workhorse, and he's like, Frank. He's like, I don't know why people cannot see that the Democrat Party is exactly the way the Castro's goons and the political party is over there. They are the actual communists, and nobody, they're like, oh no, they're not, but they are. They truly are. They are the party of authoritative political discourse.
Authoritarianism. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to hold up my end of that bargain, and I'm going to show my balls now.
This stream, I don't think I've had enough to drink yet, and you have not bought me dinner, sir. Second IRL super chat. By
virtual
the way.
super chat.
Super chat. What do we
Please
call
get
it?
it right.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. But the people that flee these countries that are ruled under those types of tyrants can spot these people within the political system from a mile away. They're like, that's what I escaped from.
Yeah. Do you remember that guy, Caesar, was his name or something? He spoke at the Republican National Convention.
Oh, the Goya CEO.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and he spoke about how, hey, we came here and we were fleeing these kind of policies. And he was totally right. One thing that didn't get much attention was the Democrat National Convention that year. If you go back and watch, they had this kind of border that would appear when people were speaking, and it had communist symbols on it. It had like the communist raised fist on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember.
Like how do you think like people who escape that feel when they see that?
And then they're called white supremacists. They're minorities who are white supremacists. I was just watching a whole thing on Twitter earlier with somebody, this whole black panel that was on there. The black women were saying that the black men were enabling white supremacists in this country because they weren't going to be voting for Stacey Abrams.
Right. Well, that's the same thing with the Asian violence, the Stop Asian Violence. To this day, if you do a search for Stop Asian Violence, you're going to find all this stuff about how like white people are the reason that black people are attacking.
Just don't
Asian
look
people.
at the FBI statistics. Yeah.
Right. Oh man. Yeah. Don't look at the DOJ. You don't want to see. Right. You don't want to see that.
Yeah. And really moving forward, can we really believe starting, in the next few years, can you really rely on the statistics that the FBI will be providing out? Everything they will be classifying will be white supremacists attacks and things.
Frank, it's just a few bad actors. The FBI is wonderful. They've always been great. It's just like one guy. Come on.
Okay, Sean Hannity, shut up.
Yeah.
I've always wondered. I want to punch my own face after saying that.
Sean Hannity has done really, really great things for the company I work for, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Don't tune into my channel then, because I got a lot of Sean Hannity videos.
I would never. I'll tune in later.
Man. Sean Hannity was better when he had combs. I liked the show back then.
Did you really?
Oh yeah, I watched it back then. I was in the Air Force in those days, and I loved it.
Yeah,
that was one of my shows.
I remember one of my friends, his grandpa would always have that show on. It was always the Sean and Combs or whatever his name was, Alan Combs. I remember he passed away. Yep. But yeah, he would always have that opposing viewpoint on there. It was almost like your Crossfire.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as Crossfire because Combs was always I always felt kind of weak, Crossfire was awesome. I loved that show back in the day too.
You couldn't have that show today
when Tucker was on. Oh yeah, no way.
It's almost like we're all in this river, and it was a really calm river at the time, and there were a lot of good people, and then we were all allies. And Sean Hannity was right there, Fox was there, and then the current really just picked up, and some people didn't notice, and they drifted super far left. They just drifted, like they didn't intentionally go over there, and some of us held on, and now we're like, where are you?
Abby, can I jump in here a second? Yeah. My whole channel's name is America Floats, based on something similar, and I can tell you that was a bad premise.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah,
that was a bad what premise you said?
Yeah. That was the river thing. I'll tell you from a water-based experience. I'll just tell you that was tough. We got to find another way to say that.
I assumed it was something like a Stephen King reference to It or something.
Okay.
We all float.
We all float. We all float down here.
Yeah.
No. So I mean, with this revelation that took place yesterday with Bannon talking about how there were 50 Trump allies, homes raided or served with subpoenas yesterday, it was just, it just is paving that way. It's paving that way. Somebody said that the Biden administration has created a super highway over the Rubicon.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We saw like the beginnings of that, I feel like, during the when the IRS was targeting the Tea Party and all that. I remember watching those hearings.
And none of them went to jail, by the way.
Yeah. And, I remember watching the hearings, and they were questioning, not Lerner, but the head of the IRS. I can't remember his name, but they were questioning him about retrieving emails of Lewis Lerner's and other people. He said, "Oh, I don't think we can provide that. I believe those hard drives crashed, so we can't provide that." And there was a backup like company that was working for them at the time called Sunsol or something like that, and it was like ultra redundant backup kind of thing, so that never could happen. And I just remember I was working IT at the time, and I remember thinking just like, that is so like bullshit that this high-ranking guy is up there during these hearings saying something that's so obviously a lie and obviously like trying to cover up, what they don't want you to know.
Yeah, and it's just like, when that took place, I remember Obama is like, "Oh, I just heard about that on the news today, that the IRS was targeting Tea Party members."
Right, yeah. Oh, I just read that. Oh, Obama's got nothing to do with it. He's got nothing to do with anything unless it's good. Then he did it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just got a sandwich full of peppermint bark. So you can see that.
So weird.
Yum.
Yeah. It's a party over here, guys. You guys are missing out. BasedCon 2022. I'm telling you. Come to BasedCon 2023.
It goes right back to the questions when they were asking Karine Jean-Pierre about, what did Biden know about the raid? And they're like, "Oh, we just found out about it in a thing."
Yeah.
And when the reports come out with all of the discovery that's coming out with the judge that's overruling, it shows exactly the Biden regime, Biden himself, gave the okay for all of this to start taking place.
Of course he did.
Because it doesn't take place unless he says it takes place, because the DOJ is an extension of the White House. It's always been that way.
Right. He's commander in chief.
Yeah. And if anybody wants, and you got the Democrats, the DOJ has to be a separate unit of the White House. No, it doesn't. It's always been that. It falls under purview of the president. The president tells the DOJ head, the attorney general, who to investigate, who to target, and who to take out.
At least
when
Obama
Bill Barr was heading it, you remember they were all saying it was just an arm of Trump's White House.
Yeah.
At least Obama was honest when he called Eric Holder his wingman.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
Yep. And that's one thing I will always give credit for the Democrat Party. They're not afraid to use power when they have it.
Right. And that is why I said what I said earlier. I think that they know that they will use power when they have it, and that Republicans generally won't.
Yeah,
they basically have nothing to fear from it.
People like Lizard Graham,
right?
Leading. I'm going to send them a strongly worded letter tomorrow about their conduct.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They have nothing to fear from doing it. Only we do. That's how it's always been. Like for so long, we just turned the other cheek while they were ramping it up, and then finally they're like, "Oh, we're going to start doing what they do." Oh, boom! January 6th. Now that's a propaganda, effort for the next 2 years, 3 years, or whenever, however long they need it. It's going to be burned into the brains of Americans.
My favorite meme is of these two guys being shot in front of a wall. It's like a shooting, and one guy's like, "Can you imagine if Republicans did this?"
Right? Yeah, that meme. Oh yeah. Could you imagine? Yeah, that's what we're always doing. It's because we're like the sane, rational people who are like, "What's happening? You see what's happening? This isn't right. You see that?" But the other side, it's like that thought process is not at all like, they don't care if we stay united. They don't care if they have to throw us in the gulags. It's like none of that matters.
One side's playing to win, and that's the problem.
Right. And we're playing as like good people in good faith who love our country, love our fellow Americans. We want us all to be united. We don't hate people for their skin color or any of that stuff. That's another like huge disconnect, is like the picture that they create of us is totally off. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't people like that out there, but I don't think most of us are like that,
Right.
Yeah. No, and Jesse Kelly is right when he says things like governors in red states should be authorizing state police to start raiding homes of Democrats, and you'll see this stop really quick when they start hitting home.
Yeah. Suddenly the rules would change again, just like it always does. I mean, yeah, you just go Republican, Democrat administrations. The media changes on a dime,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly the things that mattered before don't matter anymore. And that's that's what I always tell people is that the media really is the crux of a lot of our problems, because they are supposed to be the check on power. They're supposed to be the ones holding them accountable. If they're not doing that and they're only holding their political opponents to those standards, then it's like we're not a democracy anymore. And we can't. It can't continue. We cannot continue united in that environment.
Right. No, and you're right about that. Then it's just the way it continues to be, and it's the media does drive a lot of that force of division and hostility and fanning the flames of whatever is taking place, if it's race, class warfare, or even trying to demonize you for wanting to drive your car because it's horrible in the environment because you refuse to eat the bugs and sleep in the pod.
Yeah. If you got Hollywood and the media aligned against you, then you've got a big problem, and that's what we face right now. Because the media and Hollywood together, they create this narrative. And if you turn on network TV and watch the shows that are on network TV, they're all driving those narratives. Mm-hmm. So your average simp or whatever person who's not really involved and really trying to figure things out on their own, those people fall prey to all this easily.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think too, people who are not very online, people who are actually living healthier lives than a lot of us.
Yeah, exactly.
the little bit of information they do get is from Fox, and just they don't even realize
that's
that it's
my
not
point
good
about the
information
NPCs.
anymore.
Yeah, they get like this much information, and the information continues to slide left, and they just assume that that's the Republican response.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's fair to call them NPCs. I think there's a lot of really
not every. I didn't
people.
mean that for everybody, but I'm just saying like.
I'm just trying to say I do think that like this is something I woke up to a couple months ago where like there's really, really thoughtful, good people who just have an information problem right now. Mm-hmm. And I think rather than getting really mad at them and saying I don't respect
low information voters.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's not even that they have like not a lot of education. It's just that they haven't realized yet that the sources they used to trust are no longer trustworthy.
Yeah.
They just haven't realized it yet.
They got a long way to go, too.
Yeah. And we have to help them. We can't just like vilify them. Like we have to bring them along, give them a reason to come along.
Right. But it makes it harder when the sources they're getting their news from are constantly telling them that anybody who says something that isn't with that, what they're saying, those people are, white supremacist Nazis and all this stuff. So, I couldn't possibly agree with that person. I'm not a Nazi. I'm not a semi-fascist,
Exactly. Yeah. It's been a fantastic time having you join us tonight, Ryan. I know you got a lot of stuff you got going on that you got to go take care of, which is I'm glad you were able to give us at least an hour of your time to talk about the hypocrisy and, of course, all the gaslighting that takes place in our media every day and in politics. And just real quick, you got about a minute. Why don't you go ahead and let everyone know where they can continuously find you and your content?
Yeah, I would say the main place is YouTube. Find me on there, Dronetek, DRONETEK. I'm also on BitChute and Rumble. I'm on Twitter as well, but I'm constantly, who knows how long before I have to start a new account there. But you can find me there. I upload videos pretty much daily, shorts, all dealing with media hypocrisy, media bias, and just how sometimes I try to do it with humor. Sometimes they're serious videos. I try to change it up. So if you're interested in that, and you should come check me out.
All right. And the link is down below, guys. You guys can go check him out. Go subscribe to him. As I know it's been in the chat numerous different times. So make sure you go give him a subscribe and go watch his stuff. He has really good stuff. I love Dronetek stuff, especially his thumbnails. Those are always on point.
Yeah. Let me say, I've been friends with Frank now for quite a while, actually. And I really appreciate his friendship and bringing me on here, and meeting all you guys. And I'd like to do it again sometime.
Well, definitely good to meet you, man.
Yeah.
You're always welcome back. Thank you so much. And maybe next time you come on, you'll be able to stay the whole 2 hours with us here at the pub and close it down.
Yeah. Next time we'll do that.
Be here for last call.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we won't stick you with a check. We'll have to pick up your tab, and we'll see you a little bit later.
Later. Thanks.
Take it easy, man. God bless.
All right. So, Tom, do you want to go ahead and give everybody our halfway through thing to go find us and our stuff?
Hey, everybody, if you're listening to this now, go grab a link in the description below of whatever video you're watching, whether you're on Facebook or Twitter or any other platform that we've put this on. So grab a link in the description and make sure you're subscribed and following along.
Oh, yeah. Tom's always on that. Nice. We have a super chat that came in for a round for everybody.
But this question, do you want to do this at last call?
Yeah,
we'll
let's
do
do
this
this
one
at
at last
last
call.
call.
Yep. We'll do this one at last call. So I'll
Yeah.
start it and we'll get right back to it.
Yeah. So reminder, if people don't know, in the last 10 minutes of the show, we're going to do a last call. So get your super chats in and we'll answer any question. So
yeah,
even Abby will have to answer if she's a Fed. So
yeah.
I have an answer
Ask
for
me
that
honest.
one too. So
yeah.
All right. Well, that was great having Ryan Drone Tech on with us today. That was great. Fantastic guest. I'm glad that he got a chance to join us this evening. And we will continue down our path. I think we got a couple stuff we want to cover tonight. One thing I wanted to talk about tonight was Kyle Rittenhouse back in the news again. Of course, I have my issue. I like Kyle Rittenhouse. I think great guy. He did a great thing, and he was able to. Let me back it up. I think he's been taken advantage of by the right wing.
yeah,
By a lot of people, by influencers trying to make a buck off them and things like that. What was done to him was absolutely disgusting by our media and politicians. And I just want this guy to be able to live his life. And the thing is I'm a little concerned because of the fame and everything that's been kind of brought forward to him, that maybe he may not be making a whole lot of good life decisions
Right
now. So let me cue this up here. He's out here. He's, from what I am told, this woman that he's in here with is one of those what are they called?
A hooer?
such a spicy.
No,
feed.
not
Not a hooer. Okay.
no, not that.
My
It's the influencers that are women. I can't think of not Tot. I don't want to say Tot.
Thoughts?
So a hooer.
Anyway, so
E-girls? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's
E-girl?
what e-girls. That's
He was
what
trying
it
to
was.
say thought,
E-girl.
I think. But yeah, e-girls, thoughts,
E-girls, yes.
hooers.
So check this out. I'm not going to play the audio. I don't know. Can we play the audio and still not get a ding on this? Playing the audio on this?
Does it make sense
if
without the
if
audio?
it's less than a minute, we should be
Is it?
fine.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll run with it.
I'm gonna close my eyes. I hate
If it's
this.
music, 30 seconds, I think.
Okay. Well, we are under 30 seconds. This is a 15-second clip. All right.
Oh,
So here we go. Let's take a listen, and then we'll react.
I was riding shotgun with my hair undone in the front seat of his car. He's got a one hand babe on the steering wheel, the other on my heart. I look around, turn the radio down. He says, "Baby, is something wrong?" I say nothing. I was riding.
All right.
Oh, Peter's background dancers.
I
You guys don't have an entourage like I got. That's all I'm saying.
I think he's being taken advantage of a little bit. I think he sees dollar signs hanging around him, clout, if you will. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, she looks like a thought.
Very simple. Very straight.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
He's just
have.
a kid. He's
I don't
just a
have-
kid.
Yeah, I don't want to like cite anything more about him. It's Kyle. He posted a silly video. It's 15 seconds. It's on TikTok. I don't know why we shouldn't be talking about TikTok unless it's libs posting their craziness on TikTok. This is a normal kid. He's like what, maybe 19 now, 20, and he's kind of goobery, right? If we can see him, he's kind of a little, so the fact that he now has a pretty girlfriend who wants to make silly videos with him, and yeah, they look kind of silly like Princess and Shrek. That's all fine. I think they're leaning into that. They're playing into that. That's fine. I have no problem with it.
All right, cool. There we go.
Yeah, I think that the error is saying this kid did one really heroic thing. Like in a horrible moment, he did something. He survived. He's not a moral or thought leader. I don't know why he's getting invited to speak at all these events and being asked all these questions and his opinions on all these things.
He's not a thought leader. He is a thought leader now.
There was
But
something
I
by
agree.
Nick Adams who tweeted out and said, "We need to raise your boys more like Kyle Rittenhouse."
Without a father?
Ow, burn. No, like I think you're right though. I think it's exactly this. Look, he was put into a bad situation. He did good, and I think that he was treated awfully, and that's why the right stands up for him. But I think trying to turn everyone into a public face, into a thought leader of conservatism is just silly. Like this whole celebrity status thing is silly. It's not helping our cause. It's not helping this kid. I'm sorry, it's really not. It's
not.
It's not helping him. To put this guy in front of a camera over and over and over and over and over and just be like, this is what you have to, this is who you have to be, this is what you represent now, instead of like, look, we're going to stand for you because you were wronged, which was the right response. But I think just trying to turn everyone into a celebrity is just, it's toxic.
To be fair, he's not been made into a celebrity by anyone but the media first and foremost.
Right.
And that is now why he has a claim to fame. It's not just that he's the Kenosha kid. You know, that would be it, and he could be done with it, but he's being smart and tactful about how he's promoting himself as the guy who is suing the media who has defrauded him and the rest of their viewers, calling him a racist and a white supremacist and a guy who shot 3 black people and defrauding their entire audience. And I disagree when you say it's not a good idea for him to be in front of a camera. There are no people in the country who would know his story was not the way that it was originally reported without him being in front of a camera, without him taking the stand, without him being, you know, there in the flesh. If it was just the name Kyle, as you know, white kid shot people and by headline gone, throw him in jail. But it's that kid, and he's kind of, you know, boyish looking, and he doesn't have a hair on his chin to save his life. That it's a kid. I mean, you can look at him and say, oh, he's a full grown man. No, that little boy just grabbed that girl's boob. It was not a man that grabbed her.
Right. Well, I didn't mean he shouldn't be on camera defending himself. That's not what I meant by it. I think this idea of turning him into a TikTok celebrity, like turning him into, he's a celebrity because he's Kyle Rittenhouse, not because of what he did, not trying to like fight for his cause, right? I think it's like a child actor is what it feels like we're watching. And who can blame the guy? Like he's 19, like you said, and if you had that much fame and that much money at 19, you went from no one to a millionaire overnight with all this. Like, of course he's going to do silly things and make mistakes. Who wouldn't? I could imagine I'd be worse at 19 if I had $1 million.
What's the silly mistake? I mean, again, I don't even think it's a mistake. He's just like a silly kid on Twitter or on TikTok. His original Instagram was 4 doors more horse, and look at him. So he's not going out with all
surprised?
the.
No, I think what PJ is referring to is the hijacking of his celebrity status.
That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you,
people
Frank.
on the right hand side trying to make a buck off of it, trying to utilize and continue to put him out front, maybe in situations that maybe he shouldn't even be in those types of situations. Him being out there defending himself, I'm all for that. I'm all for him suing, the pants off of anybody that defamed him. But for individuals out there, we know who some of these individuals are out there who continue to put him out there in front of all of these situations. I just don't think it's a wise move for him to maybe accept some of those offers.
And I'll go.
I agree with all that. I just saw the TikTok thing.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say I'll also go beyond what a lot of the more cautious right-wing people, conservatives, try to say about Kyle Rittenhouse. It's like, oh, he shouldn't have been there, and he's not a hero. He just defended himself. I'm sorry, this guy is a hero. He went out there to help people. He went out there giving medical aid to people he disagreed with. He went out there because it's his community, and everybody's sitting back and watching their damn cities burn down and be like, oh, well, he shouldn't have been out there trying to be a positive force in the world in his city. Then that makes him like, oh, he's not a hero. I'm sorry, that's heroic stuff. So I have to give him that credit. So when I say this stuff, I'm not coming at it from somebody who's like, oh, it's just a stupid kid who shot somebody. I'm not saying that at all. I think it's like, it's kind of silly. Like he's 19, he's got a lot of money, and he's going to be, kind of embarrassing himself in front of a camera like anybody with fame at 19, a bunch of money would. So I just think that's the whole thing of it.
I think the right does not know how to stand up for somebody and say they did some good things without like wholesale making them a
t-shirt,
angel,
merchandise,
hero, somebody they follow. Like the right is so seemingly so desperate to follow somebody, and it's like just stand up for him, stand up for Andrew Tate, stand up for Alex, stand up for the people who are being mistreated, and separate that out from saying someone's 100% good or following them everywhere or asking them for their opinions on everything that have no relation to the thing they're heroic for.
You think that has any relation to the left and the right and their ideas of individualism versus collectivism? Like on the right, we are not as we're not as prone to jump in the way of someone else being attacked or canceled or vilified. We see Alex Jones get canceled, and we just kind of murmur amongst ourselves because we kind of see the individual as being the thing. Whereas on the left, if the collective is attacked, then they all swarm because they're the collective. They're being attacked. They feel it. It's not even them being attacked, but they are feeling the attack. So I wonder if we ought to, because we're going to absorb a lot of this mushy middle who is now really not liking how coagulated that left is going to get. I wonder if we're going to have to become a little bit more, I hate to say reactionary, but and for that reason, more isolated. Like we're going to have to interact less with fewer people because otherwise we're going to be more reactionary with them.
Right. We have to be better at our own propaganda. That's just the truth of it too. Like the left is super good at this stuff and the right is not. The left made George Floyd into Saint George Floyd, and they got everybody to go along with this idea. Doesn't matter. He's a fentanyl abusing, thief, robber, assaulted women, all that
Rhodes
stuff.
Scholar,
matter, right?
though,
he's
also
a Rhodes Scholar. He's a saint now. So I think that, the right has to understand that we have to approach our take on people and their deeds and who they are, and our propaganda, whatever that's not always a negative word. That's why I'm saying it in a better way, in a more constructive way. We have to understand how to do that.
The left is more unified than we are. I think you're right, Tom. The right, we like to mind our own business. And that conservative spirit is minding your own business. But I think the left does it too. They don't know how to, they either vilify somebody completely. Someone is either an angel or a demon. I think both sides, our entire culture doesn't know how to say, people are sinful. They have good parts and bad parts. We can be honest about that.
You have to have a more complex view of humanity, but that's also hard to push out to the masses. So
I think we may also be more realistic. So we might look and see, hey, everyone has the potential to do good and to be well. But that doesn't mean that they always will. Versus, I think on the left, they're going to be more idealistic. So they're going to look and see that everyone has that good, but we're all bad and we need to admit that. And I think that's just, you're seeing that on display right now.
Yeah, I'm going to pick on Nick Adams one more time because from what Amy, I don't know why I wanted to call you Amy just now, Abby.
It happens all the time.
Generic female name, token and female host.
Generic white female name.
Yeah.
Nick Adams tweeted out earlier that Trump never lies. I was like, really? Because everyone lies, and I think I know his sentiment on that, but it's just like, why would you tweet that outside of just for the clicks and interactions, I suppose? But it's
that's it. He's a troll. Yeah, that would be why, right? That's the only reason you would say Trump never lies. Trump exaggerates. Trump's exuberant. Trump says things in a ridiculous way to be over the top, but to say he doesn't lie, I think that's like that's being semantic and dancing around the truth like the left does.
Nick used to follow me on Twitter, and then I tweeted one too many anti-Trump things or like mildly critical of Trump things, and he unfollowed.
Right. Yeah.
Also, don't you want a president who can lie? Just to be clear, like if you're going to Russia and you're going to be negotiating, you don't want someone who's got dementia going, we have 4 nukes here and 3 here. Oh, wait, I shouldn't have told you that. Like you want someone who's going to look at you and go, I don't have any nukes. We don't even have any. We gave them all away. Like you don't want someone who can lie, whether it's right or wrong.
Did you not watch Superman 2 when he took all our nukes and threw them in the sun? That actually happened.
Antarctica. We got rid of them.
That was a documentary that actually happened.
Yeah. I love that so much. I want that to be real.
So did you guys see this story? I don't know if any of you guys have been following this latest Jussie Smollett race hoax story, but this happened during a BYU game, and the mother of this player from Duke stated that, and she has a history of lying, that her daughter was had racial slurs thrown at her during this game. And Clay Travis has been on the story now for a little bit here. And he tweeted out here, he says, after an exhaustive investigation, BYU announces they have found zero evidence of any racial slur, and they apologize to the fan who was kicked out, saying he did nothing wrong. This was a Jussie Smollett of the volleyball court. Duke should be ashamed. I think the fan that was kicked out should sue BYU, sue Duke, sue this family who has basically slandered him again.
I just want to say, I think they're all really used to going door to door and canvassing, so they probably had no problem getting to the bottom of this.
Oh,
see ya.
Mormon joke.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's because you live in Florida. That's why. Mormons are the Jehovah's Witnesses of the West, and
Well,
now the
I
Midwest.
know what Mormons are. I still
Yeah.
they're
you
weird.
get
Anyway,
They knock on a lot of doors.
Do
Frank.
you
That was
know
the
our
joke.
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
Do you have a moment to learn about the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Have you
Of
been
Latter-day
saved?
Saints? Yeah.
When can I come back?
It's more like
anyhow,
yeah. Never mind.
anyhow,
Frank, the joke was that they knock on doors. Go ahead. Sorry.
Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, USA Today decided to write a story about Clay Travis and talking about how they doubled down on the race hoax on this, even after the investigation turned out to find nothing happened. Again,
Con artists, Frank, they die with the lie. That's what I was saying last week. They die with the lie. It doesn't matter. People still push Jussie Smollett, even though it's provably wrong.
Well, he was eating a Subway sandwich when he was attacked by two white, angry vanilla gorillas in Chicago, and they threw bleach on him and ammonia, and they mixed mustard gas, and they made him inhale it, and then they threw multiple shoelaces around him, but he only got one to stick, and then they said, "This is MAGA country," and they said it multiple times, and there were a bunch of witnesses, from what I've heard. Something like that.
Oh, goodness.
Where did Abby go?
She said she'd be right back.
DiGiorno, man.
DiGiorno. Yes,
That's the
DiGiorno.
code word now. Yeah. So.
Oh, I see. No. Got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I had the story that I wanted to pull up for you guys.
Yeah, are we talking about news today?
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of news today.
I could also give a report on BaseCon if you want, while you're looking for your next story.
Yeah, go ahead and talk about BaseCon.
Okay, so yeah, I'm over here at BaseCon right now. It's it is a sci-fi fantasy writers convention for the right wing, and it has been an interesting time, I got to tell you. So I came over here with Stephen Ignoramus, if people are familiar with him and that whole group. So Katie Zed, who we've had on this show before, and Stephen, who's going to come on soon. They're here. We're running a house here in Michigan, and it's been fun. We played some music last night. We listened to a lot of people. I've actually met some interesting people. I don't know what to say. Like it's as nerdy as you could possibly imagine, tabletop games and things like that. But it's been a time. So I don't know what else you want to ask about. Oh, I did have something I did have more to say. So Frank, I have a gift over here for you. Someone's going to bring it to you at some point. I think Steven's going to bring it to you.
Okay.
But Life to the Max, who's in this chat a lot, and we probably are all familiar with her. She gave me. Well, I'll show you what she gave me first. She gave me this nice mug or this nice cup for wartime propaganda. It's got a piece of newspaper on it. Says, "Oh no, this one's for you." I picked it wrong. This one's for you, Frank. It says 14-year dry era ends today. It's about the end of Prohibition. And it says the note with it is another round for the pub. Cheers. So this comes from Life to the Max for you. And then she gave me this cool one for wartime propaganda that says the Allies invade France. And it's about Eisenhower's army hits the North Coast. So some cool handmade cups for us. So I just thought you'd like to see that. But it's been fun over here.
So painfully nerdy.
It is, and I love it. Yeah,
that is real cool. Whenever I get that, I will use it for our stream.
Yeah, so if people are wondering why people are coming down here and dancing, I'm literally reporting to you guys from Harry Potter's bedroom. I'm under like this angle. Oh, you probably can't see it. I'm like underneath a staircase. So yeah, it's been fun.
David, my handlers call me around 8 every Saturday night. It's super annoying.
Yeah, I wanted to show
That's
you guys
what's
something.
Going on.
So last week we covered some culture. We covered Tim Pool's new song, and we covered Bryson Gray's new song, which he actually had a new one drop yesterday about Abby, or not
Libby.
Abby, no, Ashley Biden and their white girl basic name.
I'm leaving again. God.
No. Anyway, so I don't know. Do you guys want to listen to that one tonight?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I always like Bryson Gray.
All right. So let me go ahead and pull it up real quick. And we also talked about She-Hulk. And I want to get to some of the comments from the She-Hulk video that we posted last week. Or this week, I should say. We posted last week.
Yeah.
I'm sinking down on my chair.
Come on, Frank. Get it together.
Man, I gave you
know.
all this time talking about, tabletop games.
Well,
and
I didn't know we
Dungeons
were
and
going. I didn't know
Dragons,
which way we were going to go
oh,
with this, so I
you know.
wanted to make sure I knew exactly where we were going to head.
He wanted to make sure he didn't have anything prepared. That way, didn't.
Nothing prepared, nothing at all. All right,
just
let me go ahead and
kidding,
grab this. And before,
It's so good. Sorry.
and before Tom says it, yes, I will put it in theater mode in just a moment.
Hey, Frank, put it in theater mode.
Yeah, can you please put it in
Can you
theater
make
mode?
that full screen, please?
Can you make that bigger?
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. All right, this is the newest one from Bryson Grade. This is Ashley's diary, not Abby's diary. Okay, let's go ahead.
We'll
Abby's
make our
diaries
own
are all
rap.
Burn.
We have our own rap group now, so I feel like we need to make an Abby's Diary song.
Maybe,
No, Abby's actual diary was worse.
That's
maybe,
true.
yeah, maybe we can get Bryson to make a Last American Pubcast rap. That'd be cool.
I doubt he will do that. I'm just gonna be honest. With you. He's not
Hashtag
gonna do
life
that.
goals.
I don't know.
Hashtag
Hey,
life
maybe I'll text him right now. How are you?
You're
that?
sideways.
You want to call him?
You're
you want to call him
sideways.
right now? I can call him. I'll put him on.
You know
there.
what? Call
That's
him.
fine.
Get him
Yeah,
on the
you call him
podcast.
and put him
Yeah,
on the
call
spot,
him.
and I guarantee you he will say
Do
no.
it.
He'll be like, "Oh, listen, man, I got a lot of credibility I'm trying to maintain. And just hitting the iron while it's hot. I don't want to hit it with a broom."
All right, here we go.
Kind of disturbing. Hey Joe, about Ash's diary, I just read it. I know it's hers too because two people got arrested. Even though prison is where you really should be headed. How your own daughter confused about if she got molested. You was taking showers with her. That's inappropriate. She feel like she was sexualized and she not over it. You got caught and you was hoping we didn't notice it. I read the whole thing, my boy. Somebody posted it. You should feel safe with your daddy and your mama. But your daughter saying that it was you that caused the trauma. She was sexualized when she was young, now that's drama. But you only cared about your career and all them commas. I'm not gonna lie, cause it's really made me wonder. Actually an addict is so where's her brother Hunter? It seemed like they were traumatized when they was younger. But when it rains, it's gonna thunder. Your son called you a pedophile, now it all adds up. Add your daughter's diary and the evidence stacked up. Violent crime family, but he attacked us. Picture career over the family. Now it's jacked up. About Ash's diary, I just read it. I know it's hers too because two people got arrested. Even though prison is where you really should be headed. How your own daughter confused about if she got molested. You was taking showers with her. That's inappropriate. She feel like she was sexualized and she not over it. You got caught and you was hoping we didn't notice it. I read the whole thing, my boy. Somebody posted it. If it was a vodka or Tiffany, what would happen? What would CNN say about it? Could you imagine? I would understand if it was fake and it ain't happen, but it's confirmed the diary's real, so I ain't capping. Now who do we have as a leader? Potential molester that's called Pedo Peter. These children of Satan, if we all look deeper, but on Judgment Day they'll all go to the heater. Hey Joe, about Ash's diary, I just read it. I know it's hers too because two people got arrested. Even though prison is where you really should be headed. How your own daughter confused about if she got molested. You was taking showers with her. That's inappropriate. She feel like she was sexualized and she not over it. You got caught and you was hoping we didn't notice it. I read the whole thing, my boy. Somebody posted it. First things first, the link.
All right.
Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. Last week, I know we kind of said like it was a good song. We felt like kind of wrote it in. This is him coming back.
This one hits.
This one was good.
That one,
Yeah.
that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. Ow. Ow. Yeah, I'll take that.
Gosh. All right.
I'll take
Well,
that.
look, I didn't want the. I've already got the handlebar, mutton chop look, and if beating women is going to be my new thing. Sorry, for people listening later, somebody asked if Abby wants to challenge
Audio
her rap
only.
battle. Yeah,
PJ
for audio
wants
only.
to beat me up. I feel so oppressed.
Yeah, so
I'll protect you, Mom.
I guess that's what
I feel
guess that's
bad
what
for
we know
people if
now.
they're just listening.
Yeah,
I hope
do
they can
too
come back and
sometimes.
watch, at least just for
Look,
some context. If you're listening to this right now, not knowing what it is that you're watching, at least come back and watch a piece so that
There's
you can try to put a face to a name.
There's a ton of context to tonight's show specifically that the audio only will not get. So I
Yeah,
apologize.
like Abby's
Come to
kitty being
YouTube.
flashed on the screen and a bunch of craziness happening.
Boots
it's
will
nuts.
get right up next to me, like, give me some attention. And then as soon as I pick him up, he's like, get me out of here.
There's a live chat tonight. There's people dancing behind me randomly and stealing my stuff. I made a poor joke about having to be a woman beater. It's a thing.
Yeah, where were we going with that? You were saying that, even
BJ
though
was saying that
beat,
he beat me at the
I was
rap
saying
battle.
I don't want to be known as a woman beater. So if I challenge to a rap battle, that's going to be part of my rep now. Yeah. So
you can be a woman beatboxer.
That's cute, BJ.
Yeah,
That's cute.
Well, if you guys remember, last week we covered the She-Hulk, and I know you guys have been anxiously waiting for the review for episode 3 from PJ and Abby.
4. We're on 4 now.
Oh, episode 4. Excuse me, episode 4. I'm sorry. But we did a segment last week talking about She-Hulk, and we really found a way to trigger a bunch of people. I didn't think they were going to find it. Nobody typically watches the our entertainment content portion, but the Sims did. So let's go ahead and pull this up real quick. Some of the comments from the She-Hulk video that we cut from last week's She-Hulk. How the left-wing art has gone so wrong. And so here we got a couple comments here. This is from 127001. Says She-Hulk twerking. Oh my God, the horror. But hey, let's pretend Chris Pratt wasn't dancing in Guardians of the Galaxy. You people are such babies.
It wasn't
LOL.
sexual.
There's something. Okay, this is the dumbest comment on the whole thing. By the way, there's a difference between somebody dancing and someone stripping. Like if you can't notice the difference, yeah, I'm sorry. It's
that's racist. I don't know the context, but that's racist because some races they strip to dance. Okay.
All right, here's the next
dancers.
Yeah. This one's from Bags. He says, yes, YouTube recommends a right-wing podcast, and in 8 minutes, they tell the woman to go to the kitchen and make a Jew joke. It's like you all want to be made fun of. I don't even remember the Jew joke.
I don't either, but okay.
They were behind the scenes on it. Even
I think they read that in. I think they imposed that over.
We came to a right-wing podcast, and they made jokes. The horror.
And we told Abby to go to the kitchen. I think that's what I remember us saying that.
First of all, Abby should go to the kitchen. But second of all, if you listen to left-wing podcasts, there's never a joke anywhere in there. So it's like, oh, I'm sorry, we're entertaining. Forgive us.
Not to mention their anti-Semitism is heartfelt, whereas ours is kind of off the cuff and only semi-serious.
Right.
This one from Jerry Turgan says, LMAO. Imagine getting triggered over a superhero movie. First of all, it's not a movie.
It's a actually
show. This one was from 6. Says hurt male egos given video form. I don't think we heard at all about it.
My new goal on this stream is to get left-wingers to defend me against you bullies.
I don't know what you're defending you from.
I will attack you.
Glass ceiling.
Abby, we need to have a running trope then where you take the most hardcore conservative stance, and then we have to be like, well, no, you're being kind of a prude, Abby. Come on. And then the girls are going to be like, no, they should keep their clothes on. They shouldn't date before they're married. They should have, all these things.
I love it.
I'll work on it.
Look at
the left in the corner, and they'll jump in with you.
If the
did we miss a super chat? I feel like we missed a Waffle Saucer super chat.
We're supposed to be keeping
I'll just drink again anyway.
I just want to drink.
Thank you, Waffle Saucer.
Yeah, no kidding.
I put that one up on the screen.
Yeah, Abby's slow.
Yeah, I did that one up.
So, look, if the left wing is going to start defending Abby, I'm just going to have to attack her twice as hard. That's how it comes down to.
All right.
And I can't take Abby seriously when she's the only one on this channel so far to say wet dream in any kind of context. Like she's the only one that wouldn't know.
It took me forever to go back and look at these comments. It was like a couple days, and I was like, oh, I had to go do all this stuff for tonight's stream. I was like, oh, look at all these left-wing comments that are on here. Wow.
I just say the quiet part out loud.
Gosh, don't. Okay, go ahead, Frank.
Tom Graphic says, left-wing art, LOL. Megan's cameo was just explicitly for the lead because she's a big fan. It wasn't meant to be dissected as anything else. All this energy focused on a 5-second clip is beyond dumb.
Can we pause right here? Because I kind of agree with her to a point. I think that they really did just put that segment in with Megan Thee Stallion to promote her thing.
That's what we said,
as a celebrity
that is
thing.
What we
said. And their error was having a segment that was so disconnected from everything. I think they forgot that she just made all those comments about wanting to be taken seriously at work and wanting to not be catcalled. And they were just like, it would be fun twerking with Megan Thee Stallion.
Right, but it's also like super. I mean, the show already does the fourth wall break poorly because women are not as good at comedy as Ryan Reynolds or any man in particular.
Do I have to leave again? I'm leaving
Yes.
again.
So
You can. That's fine. Go ahead.
So it's just true. So like the fourth wall breaks are already bad enough because they're not funny. And then the idea that they're going to be like, oh, you know, this Marvel universe, it doesn't exist in ours. Let's bring celebrities in from our world and try to mash the two together in a way that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Kim Kardashian wants to be a superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now.
We don't need ass woman.
Fact check. Fact
It'd be
check.
thunderclap. It'd be thunderclap.
Being the fact checker.
Yeah.
Being the fact checker says that women can be funny sometimes.
I thought you were checking
Just
facts.
like every other fact checker, only trying to install their opinion, and it's wrong.
Boom, roasted.
Also, you need to drink,
Thank you,
Abby.
Waffle
We just
Salsa.
got a super
Abby,
chat.
you're
Thank
funnier
you.
when you're not trying to be. No, it's like a compliment.
Oh,
He's right.
we need a boom roasted meme for Abby with PJ's face on
Boom, roasted.
from the
I
office.
like it.
Remember that scene
Someone
where,
in the
Oh,
comments
yeah.
gets it. Someone gets it.
Yeah,
where Michael comes in and he's roasting all the
yeah.
and Stanley, you're fat, you crush your wife during sex. Boom, roasted.
He's like, Oscar, you're gay. Boom, roasted. You're gayer than Oscar. Boom, roasted.
But do you really think he's on top, PJ?
Who?
Stanley?
Stanley?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Michael Scott said so. So yeah.
Michael Scott said so.
It's
Yeah,
canonically
All right.
correct.
All right.
It's canon.
yeah. It's canon, Abby. Boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted.
Okay. You guys are so mean to
Can
me.
you get that as a thing on your soundboard?
Please
When
no.
I'm home, I will. I'll add it. Yeah.
You'll add the Michael Scott.
I don't
boom
have the
roasted?
soundboard
Cat.
with me today.
Hey,
so-
you guys
I
hear,
need
you guys
you
hear the
to help
Queen
me.
died?
Who
I'm
died?
just seeing this. The Queen died.
You were just finding out about this,
Yeah,
Tom?
you guys see the Queen died? The Queen of England?
So what
Tom,
you're saying is
Tom.
that she's
Tom.
not a vampire.
Or a lizard person?
Yeah, have you guys seen this just now?
I
Abby.
know
Tom.
he's joking, but
It's too soon.
You know, two bad things came out of England this week. One was the Queen dying, and the other was Peppa Pig introducing their first same-sex couple on their
what's
show.
the second one?
We are off the rails. We are
Off the
off the rails.
Off the rails. We're gonna get kicked out.
You know,
We're
I'll
getting
put us
kicked out.
back on the rails. You had said that these are the five seconds or so of twerking, not that big a deal. Well, no harm done.
No.
That's how you do it. First,
Yeah.
it's one, not you, the proverbial you. The people say it's only 5 seconds. What's the harm? What harm could be done? But it's like, oh, there's only one page where one character says the N-word in Huck Finn. Why would you care? Or there's only one 5-second clip where a guy is showing, hardcore gay sex. But it's only one 5-second clip.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you draw the 5-second line? That's kind of the stupid argument. What is that? What did that say? I missed it. Yeah, she'd been dead. She'd been dead for a while. Go look at my Gab, because right before they announced she's dead, I was like, you guys, here's the evidence. She's dead. She's dead. And then sure enough, here she is dead. Just found out.
A cat in every pot. I don't know if this is a marijuana joke or what.
So, but the
Oh,
thing
you're the
that Tom's
fad, you
right
should
about.
I'm just trying to confirm for my report.
Wait. PJ was going to say I'm right. Go ahead, PJ. Go.
No, I was going to say. Tom's 100% right, but the right doesn't understand incrementalism the way the left does. Everything the left is doing started over 100 years ago, and people get so mad at me when I try to bring up history. I'm like, it's because it's important, because they have a long view of their goals and we don't. And that's why we lose, because we were like, hey, this is the change I want to see. And then we advocate just for that change instead of going, okay, so this happened in Virginia. I don't know if it's Virginia, some state in the East Coast a few weeks ago. Somebody correct me on this. They had a vote for abortion, and they said, look, should we get rid of 98% of abortions or no? And people were like, I'm an abolitionist. I would rather get rid of 100, so I'll vote no. That's why we lose, because we don't understand that you have to take the one you can get today and then fight for more ground tomorrow.
Mhm.
We never do it.
That's an interesting
Save
way
the
of saying
babies
it.
you can save today. Save the babies you can save today.
Yeah.
In-
We
incrementalism,
saved 60,000
that's it.
babies instead of 0, and they think it's a loss. Like, it's, I don't know.
Hey, sorry, Tom. How does it feel to be interrupted?
Oh no, it's fine. I grew up in a family where if you wanted to be heard, you just talked. So the fact that like you guys take it all so serious, I'm just like, whatever. I'll let you guys get your spews out.
I feel like I'm gonna defend Tom again, but I feel like I interrupt more than he does. And you guys
That's the whole thing. It's like it's a weird
it
joke.
makes me sad when Tom doesn't talk. I'm like, Tom's just giving everybody the silent treatment.
No, but PJ's not my arch enemy like Tom is.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Waffle Salter.
Thank you, Waffle Salter.
Y'all know I like to drink, so any excuse.
So are we going to talk about episode 4 of Hope?
Yeah, we were getting there. We were just.
Oh yeah.
We got off the rails again.
I wasn't sure because I know Abby didn't finish it because she's lazy.
And we were going to out me on screen.
Well, listen, I'm over
Abby
here
didn't do her
reporting.
homework.
Like I'm over here reporting on site.
The feds have her doing other stuff, PJ.
Right, I know. I'm over here reporting on
I
site.
was busy.
I've been at conventions all day. I've been playing music. I've been drinking a lot of beer. Okay, I've been really busy, and I still found time to make someone else sit through She-Hulk with me. And it was the best and worst episode yet, I would say.
Okay.
What do you think, Abby, from half of the episode
you watched? PJ.
What?
I have
because Michigan sucks. Can we? Where's the ban button? They're not.
Okay.
No. He's
no, they're not
entirely.
They're not.
I want to say this episode, the half I watched, confirms that this is awful as a courtroom drama. Awful
Bingo.
As a courtroom drama. Like they're not even trying to pretend like they're accurate to like what makes a good courtroom drama is following the rules of courtrooms and showing us how the legal system works. We need more good TV that shows how the legal system works instead of this like fake putting a drunk girl on the stand.
Yeah, it's not a courtroom drama at all, and the pacing is wrong in every single way. They spend no time on any one thing. The only thing they really focus on, and actually, I'm going to give Woofy credit, who's here watching with me. So I put Woofy through some hoops. But what he said to me is the whole point of the show, it seems like, is on a show you've got an overarching plot and then little subplots. Mm-hmm. This show is all subplot and then 4 seconds of main plot every time.
Yeah, did she like catfish some dude to sleep with her?
Yeah, so
as the She-Hulk form, and then he woke up to her, and it was like the regular form person. He's like, "Whoa," and then the media and then social media got outraged because that character got mad that he was catfished by She-Hulk.
Right. So the whole point of this episode, this is why I say it's the best worst episode, because the whole point of the episode, the courtroom drama stuff was a sideshow for 4 seconds. Somebody give a crap about. It was entirely the whole episode was about She-Hulk trying to get laid. It was just, hey, how can I hook up on Tinder? Because that makes me super progressive as a woman. And of course, they spent like 5 minutes in the beginning.
Empowerment.
Yeah, it's super empowerment to get banged and then have the guy leave before breakfast. So, and that's what happened in the episode, by the way. So, like, the whole point is that there was a whatever. It's your fault for not watching it.
Wait, you mean to tell me that the guy who said all the right things perfectly
that was sitting there reading a feminist book? Yeah.
They got her really hot? Wasn't her dream guy?
Yeah, the guy who knew how to simp hard, the guy who knew how to say all of the correct left-wing things to get in her pants, then
do you mean all the guys in the comment of our She-Hulk video?
All of them, except the only difference is that they've never been laid. That's the only difference.
Imagine my shock.
Yeah, imagine my shock. I mean, incels comes from the left. Let's just be honest. But like the whole point was that they took a good chunk, more than the courtroom drama chunk, in order to have her go on some rants about how awful men are while she's trying to hook up with random dudes on the internet. And then the reason it was the best episode, it was the only episode with a legitimate action scene in it, and it was actually kind of good. I'll give it that. I don't know if you got to that part yet, Abby, but like there was a legitimately good action scene in this one. It's the only one with an action scene at all. And so it was the best on one hand, and it was by far the worst for the rest.
Was it better than the PS2 cutscenes?
It was still not great CGI, but it was actually a good fight scene.
My favorite meme was the meme of the guy that was like crying. He's like, "I'm missing my kid's birthday to make She-Hulk twerk."
Okay, so here's an overarching thing I want to talk about, because I think this is a really good microcosm of the state of feminism and the state of like things with women in America, men and women in America, is that something is like a legitimate hurt is being recognized. Like, it sucks to get catcalled. It sucks. It like just throws off your day, makes you feel like a complete piece of meat. Like
I wish the stranger would tell me I have a nice butt.
Yeah, seriously, I disagree wholeheartedly.
You're a
As someone
guy.
no, as someone, well, that's a sexist thing to say.
Wow.
Men and women are different. Men and women
That's
are
true.
different.
That's true.
For
But to say
me,
you're a guy, therefore you have to like it. That sounds pretty Joe Biden. Black
no,
collar.
I didn't say that. I said that you like it because you're a guy, not that it's good that you like it. But like, if I'm, let me just be
Yeah,
honest.
go ahead.
Without
Go ahead.
Without
Keep
being
saying
mocked.
Can't
If I'm in a
guarantee
parking
that.
lot, if I'm in a parking lot in public, and some guy screams across the parking lot, "Nice ass," I don't even like. I genuinely don't feel safe. Like I'm in public, but I'm walking alone. Somebody felt like it was okay to do that. So they already saw that there was nobody around. So they feel comfortable doing that. So immediately I have my keys in my hands because I don't know. Like, what is he going to do? Is he going to leave it the way it is? Or is he going to get mad that I didn't acknowledge him?
And
like,
I would say this. I wouldn't want
Yeah, there's
anybody catcalling my
circumstances.
wife in the parking lot by herself if she's out there. I wouldn't want my wife to be catcalled.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
guys, we're
this is
taking
a
it
normal
from
thing.
saying there's an exception to now, we're condoning all cat. That's not what we're
No.
saying here.
No, but I think that feminists recognize a lot of the heart and root of feminism is in a genuine hurt, in a genuine saying something's not right here. Something's not right in the relationship between men and women in the society. And the answer, I think, is porn culture. I think the answer is that so many guys are training themselves to see women as pieces of meat and then act that way. And feminism doesn't realize and name that as the problem. And they name other things that aren't the problem, like just regular old masculinity. So that's certainly an error and an overcorrection. But I think that there's so much that is real that the right won't even acknowledge.
What you're saying is the correct. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll just say this really quickly. I acknowledge that for sure. There are definitely people who exhibit that poor behavior. I also will give some space for there to be people who do their mockery through mimicry. So if somebody is going to use a gay slur to call their friend, it may be to mock people who normalize or to usually use that word. You know what I'm saying? So like to do the thing you're mocking as to mock the thing, maybe. And so maybe not always. That's where I would come from with it. If I was being catcalled, I know that person doesn't actually think they're going to hook up with me. That person doesn't actually think they're going home. But if they're like, hey, take me home, because it's a bunch of girls on a, little bus that's, they're doing the pedaling bike thing, and they're drinking beer around downtown, and they're catcalling you walking down the street as a guy, that's just people being flirty and funny. A lot like how I think 90% of them would be. It's in passing, and it's like a social interaction that is fun and flirtatious, and it makes a person feel vivacious. I don't think a lot of people would get on the stand and swear, to Jesus Christ himself with a hand on the Bible and say every single time they've ever been approached in public, they hated it.
So, yeah, what I would say, I think what a lot of Abby's talking about is a correct conservative response to this porn culture thing is that we have we hate feminists. So we do this overcorrection thing where it's like, actually, it's good to objectify women. It's good. It's like,
no, that's not what I'm saying either.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I actually agree with what you're saying, Tom. What I'm saying is,
I just got to convince them I didn't say that. Okay, now we're going.
No.
Go ahead.
But like what I'm saying
really
is, I think this idea that Abby's talking about, because this happens, I don't even think catcalling is the best frame of mind for it. I think the disgusting things that people are sent in DMs is probably a better frame of reference.
It's all in the same. Yeah.
Right. But like the flirty, like joking, like, oh, hey, catcalling this girl in a joking kind of way, like with a group of friends. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like there is this disgusting porn culture that objectifies women, and then women feel like, hey, it's actually wrong to be gross towards women in public, online, wherever. It's creepy, it's wrong, and I don't want to defend that as conservative. I think men should be gentlemen. I think what Tom's talking about is right, as far as like a joke, a social interaction type of joke. But what I'm talking about is actual like disgusting like behavior that we've condoned because we hate feminists.
Yeah,
that's all I meant by the behavior and the mimicry.
We've gotten to the point that where even like nice compliments would be considered catcalls by
That's all I'm trying to defend.
I think a lot of guys correct to defending those compliments, and really very few girls have any type of problem with a compliment that feels innocent. What we have a problem with is a compliment that knows it's over the line, but it's pretending to not be. I get so many comments from people.
Yeah, those are the innuendos that they drop in there, hoping I've seen it. I've seen those types of those things on videos and trainings and stuff like that. And we've taken, and those are definitely different than just your your haircut looked really nice today or something like that.
Right, exactly. No girl has a problem with that. Yeah,
right. But feminists, the hardcore feminists will take that and say, no, that's a cat call.
Right.
And
it's a microaggression
against me, or even you holding the door open for somebody to go in, they would find that to be a microaggression. Not all women. I'm
male
just saying
chauvinism. They don't need you to hold the door for them.
Right.
Yeah.
So all been put into this pot of catcalling.
We've conflated the two, and that's the issue. We've conflated the two because the media shows this is what "quote unquote" catcalling is, and in the way they portray it in a movie or in She-Hulk is a guy blocks a door and tries to be all creepy and rub his junk on a girl as she walks through, and they're like, "Oh, that's catcalling." So we're conflating compliments.
That's sexual assault or battery,
right? But that's what I'm saying is they're putting those two into the same pot. So like the overcorrection of some people is like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's all the same. And it's like, both are wrong. Like there's a difference between sorry, go ahead, Abby.
Okay. This is one of the things that I hate, like truly hate about being in a conservative space. There are people in the comments, and there have been all night, there's been some creepy comments toward me. I'm married. Please don't. And then there's comments now saying, Abby, grow up. Catcalling is laughable. Like, I am not a feminist. I understand your anger at feminists, and I understand we're all fighting the gross feminist overcorrection. I get that feminists have said horrible things toward men, and they absolutely need to be corrected. But when women who are not feminists, who are classy women, who love their husbands, who will never sleep with anyone but their husbands, who don't want to be sexualized by other people who are not their husbands, speak up about these things. Conservatives, you mock us. Mm-hmm. When we stand up and ask to be respected the way that women were in the traditional times that you say you care about, you mock us. That's awful. There's nothing that makes me not want to be a conservative like that.
And you're right about that.
100%.
You see it all the time. And no one calls it out. They just, oh, okay.
Yeah, like men, stand up for women again.
That's conservative. I'm sorry. That's conservative. Being a gentleman, being chivalrous, standing up for women. Like, you hate feminists doesn't mean you hate women, and that's that's the issue that we're having with a lot of people today. Is they think that it's the same with the NPC argument I've been making. Is they hate what the left does.
Fucking stop. Okay, enough.
I'll stop talking.
Enough. I don't want to see any of that shit ever again.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I am. This one guy has been commenting this shit all night.
I know, but you just ignore it. It's,
well, we can do this.
I'm sorry. PJ, please continue.
I don't know what I was saying. It's all good. I was just trying to say I think that it's chivalrous to stand up for women. That's my point. So
yeah, we blocked Prophet Ray there, so Prophet Ray's gone. So
I feel like
I'll tell you what, I have
it. Kitchen table.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have the video we wanted to pull?
I thought you had
it was ready to go.
You say you were pulling.
You had the feminism video that was queued. We just never played it, or did we?
No, we hadn't played it yet. It was just
Let's play it.
Okay, bring it up. Here we go. Let me hit play.
Feminism is a scam. A few years ago, I was an angry, blue-haired feminist. I once believed that male privilege was real and that I was a victim of the wage gap. Now that I understand the true motives of feminism, I know that this could not be further from the truth, and that modern-day feminism is a war on true masculinity. Before women had the right to vote, most were stay-at-home wives, which meant they weren't working jobs and couldn't be taxed. Our overlords didn't like that. Rockefeller started funding feminist campaigns in media, and as a consequence of the movement, women started entering the workforce and leaving the home. Children would then be separated from their parents and sent to Rockefeller-funded schools to be indoctrinated by the state. All of this ultimately disrupting the family unit at its core. Feminism is defined as the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes. But in the West, I must ask, what rights do men have that women don't? Modern feminists are convincing women that hookup culture, using hormonal birth control, and not shaving is liberation. That toxic masculinity is prevalent and the patriarchy must be dismantled dismantled. Through movies and media, we're taught that working for the man, climbing the corporate ladder, and paying tax is more empowering and valuable than raising the next generation. Women have lost touch with our natural loving instincts, and birth rates are plummeting. Men and women are not the same. And by protesting for equality of outcome rather than opportunity, feminists are demonizing and emasculating men.
All right.
Yeah, one problem I have right off the bat, I hate the people that hold the microphone like this, or they have the earpiece and they hold it like this. Can you either put the mic on like it has a clip, have a little lapel clip, or put it over your shoulder or tuck it in? Do something. If you're going to be professional and have a microphone, don't then do this and hold it. It's just, it makes no sense.
There are people with millions of TikTok followers who still do the earbud up to their mouth thing.
It's a trend. It
It's
makes
so
it look like they're not
annoying.
putting effort
I actually spent the $20 whole it costs to buy a microphone for your phone. You make more than that on TikTok. Sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine too. But anyway, that's beside the point.
But yeah, otherwise I liked it.
Yeah,
sounded smart.
She had a lot.
That was distracting to me.
Yeah,
the holding the
I
microphone.
thought she was smoking a cigarette. Yeah, she was.
It's not a microphone. It's an.
She's got an
earbud
accent and she's holding. I thought she was a
Yeah.
cigarette. And I was like, where is it? She's not smoking. She's never hitting it. Oh, I see.
It's this thing on the earbud, and they hold it up to their mouth like they're freaking Fed posting.
I thought she was doing this like.
Yeah.
You did have a video queued up. You wanted to. Well,
I was gonna say we're getting close to the end. We're getting to the last call. Do we have?
Yeah, we have a last call coming up in a second. So get your things in, and then we will watch this in the meantime. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. We gave the heads up, and now we'll watch this.
There we go. Go ahead.
Going ahead. Hang on, I'm gonna make it full screen because I know you're gonna ask me to.
Can you make that
full screen?
Full screen, please.
And if I never made $1 again, I'm blessed. Never stop giving them bops, white rock in the flesh. Oh yes, shovel rocks on my coffin, call the cops if I'm dead. No stress. 100,000 fans coming to cut off your head. Slow death. Most illest singer, both middle fingers, throw 'em in the air. I don't care till I'm a ghost or crippled. I ain't gonna chill, homie, sit down. I am still the biggest with the now. I am independent, you are bitter and pathetic. When it's up, then it's up, then it's up. Come and get down. Everywhere I go's a riot. People crying. Everywhere you go is silent. Why so quiet? I show up and it's a riot. They excited. Where you go ain't nothing like it. Why so quiet? Even if I never made $1 again, I'm blessed. Never stop giving them bops, white rock in the flesh. Oh yes. Till I'm dead, I swear to God, I'll do it my way. Grind it all my life, now every day is Friday. Independent legend, unheard of at my age. Middle finger flipping, got scribbles on my face. I will not go mainstream, dog, you know I hate pop. I'll be screaming the industry until my veins pop. That's a fake rock.
Okay, so
Gang ops ain't the same, stop. No one knows your name, that's why you.
can I say an unpopular thing? I don't like Tom McDonald. Am I the only one?
You're muted, Tom.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not the only one.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I like him, but I'm sure you're not the only one.
Rushmore, you a nobody, a legit clown. Everywhere I go's a riot. People crying. Everywhere.
Well, anyways, that's the song. You got the gist of it, I guess. If you're not
I'll
a
let
big
you
fan,
guys
we can
comment
drop that.
first. No, I didn't mean it that way. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's listen, we got the gist.
No,
of it.
I mean,
think everyone's cool.
You have people that don't like Bryson Gray's type of style of music. I mean, if it's pointing toward more of the type of what we talked about last week with Tim Pool and his type of music and stuff like that. If it's all moving culture away from the degenerate culture that we have, and if he's pushing that,
I guess I'm just wondering, am I missing something with this music video? Maybe I'm just tired.
it's called Riot, right?
Yeah, it was called Riot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, for the people that want to see it, you know what it's called. You know where to find it. If you don't, then mercy, you got out of it.
All right. So we're at last call. Well, we're a little bit past last call. We got about 6 minutes.
We're collecting the glasses from last call.
Yeah.
We're putting bar stools up on the top of the tables.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get to our last call. Save super chats that we had here. This one was from Ripcord earlier. He said this one is a double. So thank you so much, Ripcord, for your donation there. Waffle Salter came in with 20. He said, cheers, all. Thank you so much, Waffle Salter. EW USA with a super sticker for $2. So thank you so much for that. The big one that came in here said this was the off-subject one, but to our brave armed forces on 9/11, Eve, thank you for your service. Yes, for all of you guys that are out there, thank you so much for your guys' service. Thank you so much, Waffle Salter, for that as well.
Yeah.
EWS says, I'm an immigrant from Moldova. I appreciate the freedom that this great country offers me, and I will fight to keep it this way. God bless all of you. So thank you so much, EW. This one was heavy metals, and we said we make sure we answered this question. It says, do you support Constitutional Article 5 Convention of the States? We have 19 of the 34 required states on board, and we can bypass Congress and neuter the Fed. What do you guys think?
So I know the constitutional lawyer who's kind of heading up the Convention of the States push. He's been doing that for years. Michael Ferris. I support it, but I also think it might be too late to put the cat in the bag. So I'm kind of rooting for it. What do you guys think?
Tom?
Frankly, I would like to see that, but I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I don't know the details of that. I think we're going to see fragmentation and balkanization before that. Yeah. And so the further that our side pushes for that, the worse things get, not as a consequence, but as a correlation.
Right.
So it's like, hey, for all the success that you see people being, putting pressure on this to occur, meaning, hey, there's going to be more pressure on them to react or to do something to stop it or to save it. And that means false flags. That means attacks. That means you name it. I think 9/11 was one time 20 something years ago. We're going to, see it again tenfold.
Yeah. I think that the push for something like that, even if it's right, is just like you said, the consequence of it, whether that's right or wrong, is going to be more polarization. And I think it's a pipe dream to believe in something like that happening without further bloodshed in this country, without real bloodshed in this country. I don't think the left is just going to give up something like that, whether it's done through the legal means or not. I just don't think we're at a place like that in America today.
Yeah, I think they've done a phenomenal job as far as what they've been able to do with state legislators and things like that throughout the country to move in that direction. However, as Tom and both Abby and PJ have mentioned, I think we're close, but we're so far away at the same time that they will do whatever they can in order to ensure that we can't reach or attain that to be able to help curve any of that.
They're not just going to go, darn, you got us there, and we're just let it go. That's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, and I do feel like Convention of States is like throwing all the marbles back into the center, and we feel like we won a lot of good ground with the first go around of claiming what rights are ours and then installing them into a constitution and in framing our government around that. So I don't think it would be necessarily the wisest thing to say, okay, all the bullets back in the middle. We're going to just, slap the hippos back again and see what we can get again. I think we need to add to, not just say, let's redo.
Yeah, I don't think it's kind of like that. I remember, I think he was on with Tim Pool like last month, and they were talking about that. And it's not like, putting all the marbles back in the center. There is a designated process for that. So they can't just go back and say, yeah, we're going to get rid of all these other constitutional rights. It has to be something different, I believe. But I could be wrong. I mean, I would have to read a little bit more onto that.
My concern is that they are able to steal elections and get away with it, even being seen to do it. So my concern would be we have a Convention of States, and then you see great new amendments passed, but the language is such that in 2 years, a judge can say this and then overturn that. And now all of a sudden that right is actually a right of the government. And that's what I'm afraid that they will have.
Yeah.
Convention of the States is just, it's a new evil. Like it's something we haven't been tried. We don't know what the ramifications are. I think it's interesting that the founding fathers, they had this conversation, and it was a conversation where the people who were on the side of the Federalists wrote all of the Federalist Papers defending the idea of that system, the system that we have. Right. And then there was a whole group that wrote the Anti-Federalist Papers saying, hey, look, these are the concerns we have. And a lot of the things that they said came true, but that doesn't mean that Convention of the States is a better system. It's just the one we haven't tried yet.
Right. Yeah. We got this one from Movie Dog. He says, your thoughts on how it will all end. Do we win? I know we hope not, but Civil War, ?
Who wants to cover this first? Because I got thoughts.
I
Go ahead, Frank.
I think that I think we do win in the end, but it's not the way we think of it today. I don't think it's that type of win that we want because it's going to come at a cost.
Right.
And so I don't want to see where we're headed the way we're going right now because you compare to history, you see where this ultimately ends. And yeah, there will be a reckoning for all of this, but do we really want to have to go through it? And, I worry about, certain aspects of that because I have a family, just like many of you guys out there, and you don't want to have to see your family, your children or grandchildren have to go through what possibly will come after what we are currently seeing. So, that's
I want to say this. I think that, I'll say this. I know we win in the end in one way. And this is where your hope has to lie. Your hope has to lie in Christ because we win in the end regardless. One day America's going to fall. One day the world's going to fall. Yep. One day some globalist will take over and implement all of your worst fears. It's going to happen at some point. So do we win in the end? Well, who are you putting your hope into? And that's what it really comes down to. And I think beyond that, do I think that we have a chance to win in America? Like Frank said, I think we do. I think it's going to come at great cost, and it's not going to be something you want to see, and it's going to be awful. But that's the thing. It's like this stuff is worth fighting for. This is the thing I'll argue with Christians on all the time. I'll say this stuff is worth fighting for. Fighting for your neighbor, fighting for your family, fighting for your country is worth fighting for. But if that's where your only hope lies, then you've already lost.
Yeah,
and I like that. Yeah. I would say I was going to guess that I would say that it would guess. Something very Christ-like, something self-sacrificial. And to your point, I don't think the win that we want is going to look the way that we think it will. Mm-hmm. I don't think people will recognize the win necessarily when we see it on the horizon. And we're not there yet, but I think that it will, like the country itself may not be the emulation, but something is going to be burnt out and will be gone. And we're going to see something new coming within the next era of American politics, because it's not going to be the way it has been for the last 80 or so years, I don't think. And to that point, whether it's like the Harry Potter ending of you have to work away and chip away at it until then you can sacrifice the last little piece of what is good to kill off what is also bad, only to save it at the, I don't know if that's going to be the case or if it is, more to the reality of you're putting your faith in, the one true person who has control of this, and then knowing, hey, even if at the end we lose, winning is that you continue to fight while we can.
Right? Yep. This one came in from Waffle Salter again. Said rap battle fun for Abby versus PJ. Maybe in a future episode we will have a rap battle between the two.
Can we do an impromptu freestyle right now?
No.
So we don't have any.
No.
Okay, both of you are saying no. Okay.
Ripcord came in with a $10 one, says a cat in every pot.
It sounds like Venezuela. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, Venezuela, cat in every pot.
Ripcord's eating cats.
Waffle Salter also came in with $10. Says the left likes to argue party switch lines, no receipts. What do you say?
No, they didn't. They didn't switch anything.
Been debunked a million times.
But if you were sitting on the loser's bench and you had an O and however many record, wouldn't you say, "Oh no, we just switched jerseys before this game started"? Wouldn't you say that?
There have been, I think, two, and then if you count now, 3 massive shakeups in the parties. I think that the core stuff hasn't changed, but I think some of the surface level stuff has, to the extent where you can argue that the party switched.
Yeah.
You're wrong, but you can argue that.
Okay.
I can agree. The Uniparty might use the two parties to play hot potato with a couple issues. If it's you can name one. Using police and the FBI as a force. If the right did it, the left would hate it. Now that the left has power, the Uniparty just tosses that potato back, and now the other hand can wield that like a weapon, and we're all going to be mad at the FBI. But if the FBI kicked the doors in on Hillary Clinton and Chappaqua, we'd all be going yeehaw. So I can understand this.
Conservative ideals have not changed as much as people think. And here's the proof. Okay, they say the shakeup happened in the 1960s after the civil rights movement.
Mm-hmm.
Read the book God and Man at Yale, especially read the modern introduction to it that was written by, I can't think, William F. Buckley Jr., and tell me that it's changed that much. You will think he wrote it yesterday for conservatives, for real conservatives, not rhino, foxwing Republican bullshit. I'm saying if you think that there was a real shakeup in conservative ideals,
Hey,
it's
man,
just not true.
I'm just going to say to you, it's a great suggestion. But if you think the people on this stream who won't even watch She-Hulk are going to go read your book, I got news.
I think somebody in the chat
Be
said
a better use of their time than watching She-Hulk. That's for sure.
party
that's
switch
probably
never
definitely
happened. Look it up. 2 politicians switching doesn't mean it was a party switch. I think this is
Boom,
similar to what we
roasted.
have right now, is that we have so much shake up where we have a couple senators right now who might switch over or who sometimes vote differently. And I think that
Okay, but like
that's the uniparty getting so bare on their cushion that they
Yes.
have to show their root, their true, like, so
Yes.
that's their true colors coming out. That's a guy on the left going, shoot, I have to go this way just to balance this, or really more likely a bunch of rhinos jumping on and
Right.
saying, oh, I'll vote this way if I have to.
Yeah.
And that's Mitt Romney, that's Lindsey Graham, that's others, and we see them.
Also, if Tulsi Gabbard decides she wants to be a liberal leftist from 10 years ago and not a liberal leftist from 2022, she didn't
Right.
switch parties. It's stupid.
right. Exactly. I think switch parties is an oversimplification.
And just because the left shifted further left doesn't mean that Tulsi Gabbard is not a liberal.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I think we see this every time politics gets really, really difficult. We see this with slavery. We see this with like really, really difficult things where people aren't quite brave enough, or things get shaken up. But
Do we have any other super chats, Frank?
Nope, that was it. That was everything for the
Cool.
last call tonight. So thank you all who have donated in for tonight's stream all around. I'm through all my drinks already.
If you're watching still, make sure you like, comment, share, make sure you're subscribed to everybody in the links in the description of the video. And again, thank you for being here.
Thank you
I
so
don't
much,
believe we
guys.
have any more guests the rest of the month out. So I think it's just going to be us. And then next month, I do believe we have your friend, PJ.
Frankie Rodriguez
Yes.
and Stephen Ignoramus are going to be on next month. So
Yeah, so,
some exciting stuff
so-
coming up.
Yep. So for the next couple weeks, we'll just be the core team here, which is fantastic. We'll be able to cover some other topics that we want to cover. And if you guys have any suggestion as far as topics you want us to cover or guests that you might want us to reach out to, make sure you follow us over on our Twitter account, Last American Pubcast. The base producer is always looking for awesome people to follow and suggestions for this show. So if you want to go reach out to him, make sure you reach out to the base producer over on our official Twitter account.
All right.
So with that being said, thank you, everybody. Thank you to all of our hosts here tonight. And we will see you guys next Saturday when the pub reopens. Make sure you tip the waitress on the way out. All right. Good night, everybody.
God bless.